Verbal Riot.
What's happening, guys? Welcome to the show, man. This is the second live, and I want to thank all of you guys who tuned in to my first live show last Saturday when I interviewed Vera Vanguard, and I really appreciate it, guys. You were gentle with me. It was my first time. You were very gentle. You gave me a light touch. You didn't rag on me too hard, and luckily nothing crazy happened. Right? Like I didn't accidentally cut off the stream or. And I watched my words. I think I only swore a few times, so which is better than I thought I'd do. But anyway, guys, I'm just really glad you're here. I'm glad I'm here, and I can't wait to get the show going, man. Because I got two guys with me who, if you guys follow them on Twitter, they are hilarious, but they also make very solid points in the things that they talk about, and definitely follow their shows. You're going to get all their information during and after the show. So, but yeah, let's not waste time, man. I'm just going to bring these guys in. First up is Derek Anderson from the DA's office.
Yo, what's up, Dante? Thanks for bringing me in, man. I'm looking forward to this. It should be awesome.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm glad we're doing more shows now, man. Because I know, we've known each other for a little bit, but we haven't actually connected on the YouTube level. And I'm glad we're finally doing that, man. I've been wanting to work with you for a while, and I appreciate you so much. Last minute, accepting my invitation.
Yeah, man. Thanks for inviting me, man. This is awesome. I like, doing live. So this is excellent. I'm looking forward to the conversation we're going to have. Mostly I want to say this, man, you should have been doing this a long time ago, bro. You should have been on this, man. This is your game. You are great. Your commentary is excellent. So I'm just happy you finally getting it in because I actually have followed you longer than I've known you. If you didn't realize that, I've actually followed you a lot longer than I've known you, and so I just been like, man, this guy is awesome. Where's the content? So I'm glad you're doing this, and I'm glad you brought me in. I'm looking forward to this. This is gonna be awesome.
I appreciate it, man. You know what? You could thank Chris Gore for that because he was on me about doing my own show. He's like, dude, we got to get this happening.
Thank you, Chris.
And I kept putting it off. I kept making excuses, and then one day I was like, you know what? Let's do it.
Let's do it. Exactly, man.
And
exactly. Yeah.
And it's funny
because you came on to the DA's office a couple of weeks ago, so I appreciate you for doing that. And I'm gonna try to get you on there more.
Absolutely.
I think this is just an awesome, that you're finally jumping into this arena. This is great. This is you're going to blow up, in my opinion, man, because I love your stuff, man.
And you know what, man? I'll be honest, it's a little nerve-wracking because I don't have any mods. I don't have I'm doing all this solo. So I'm like, but it's cool because I'm also learning, right? And and I already said, when I got into this YouTube thing, I was going to come into it humble. I was going to, admit what I don't know and learn what I don't. And everyone has been so gracious, man, and just advice and helping me out. So I mean, it's been a really nice ride so far, and I just want to keep it going.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right, guys. So the next person I'm bringing out is another good friend of mine, Aaron Sparrow.
Hey,
there we are from Dapper Dragon.
Yeah, well, that's I do have a channel, Dapper Dragon Media. I have years. I was just messing around with it when I first got on YouTube. You can mostly find me on the Thinking Critical channel with Wes. We do comics aficionados every Saturday. Wednesday we do a stream that we've got a podcast that goes up, and and then I'm on Sundays with Max's Man Cave, sometimes on his Friday show, and when they talk about comics, and I'm on Tuesday nights with Josh McDonald of Pop by Culture. So
now,
by the way, you opened the show with a Warriors clip, so this is already a classy show.
Well, most people who know me, man, they that's my favorite movie of all time. It's in my top 3 for sure. And anytime I could use that clip, I always use it because I just we'll never get a movie like that again. You know what I mean?
Oh no, no,
we'll never get a movie like that again. So
the perfect storm.
Oh, I think you cut out a little bit, Aaron.
Oh, did I cut out? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I said that movie was just a perfect storm of things coming together to make a a great film. So yeah,
Oh,
a lot of things happened by accident that made it terrific.
Oh, and speaking of perfect storms, when it comes to movies, we first met physically face to face at Madam Web.
we did. It was Madam Web, wasn't it? Oh my
It
gosh.
was.
Yeah,
We
it
met
absolutely
at
was.
Madam Web, one of the worst movies of all time. That's where we met.
Worst or best? Like, what a cinematic tour de force that was. Like, I am so excited that it's out on 4K. Like, I can't wait to. I enjoyed that the same way I enjoyed Venom 2: Let There Be Carnage, where
Oh
I
yeah,
didn't
no,
like
absolutely,
the movie
man.
at all. I didn't like the movie at all, but I just sat there the whole time, just like baffled and fascinated by the decisions that were made.
The thing about Madam Web is that it's taken on its own life, like a life of its own. You know what I mean? Like it's become more than a movie now. You know what I mean? Like I don't know anyone who truly hates it. Like it's the worst movie ever made, but or one of them. But no one hates it because it's so bad that it's good.
Yeah, and there is an earnestness to the film.
Yes.
Like, they really were trying to do something, and it's just
Yeah,
it's just
I
baffling
think that's the main thing. Yeah, it has this. There's this kind of, we tried, guys. We really tried, and it's like, but it's terrible. Like I don't get the same feeling that you guys get, but I do I do understand. Like the movie that's so bad, it just creates like its own little like conversation, and it becomes like hey man, this is fun to watch, because you get to rip on it and rag on it, and oh my god, who wrote that line of dialogue? And everybody gets to laugh and have a good time with it. But yeah, that's Madam Web in a nutshell for you, for sure.
The whole script feels like it was just a placeholder run through. Like they're like the real dialogue, we're gonna give you that later, but like let's just get this on. We want to block this out and just no, we're not recording or anything. We're not recording at all. Just just go through it.
So wait, when you guys went to see Madam Web, was there anybody in the theater except the two of you? Because I went to see Madam Web in an absolutely empty theater. I was the only person in the theater when I went to see it. And I took pictures of it and everything, just in case people thought I was lying. I said, this is my theater for Madam Web. There's nobody here. Were there people in your theater?
There was a decent amount, shockingly,
Okay.
actually. I was even surprised by how many people were actually there, because I was like, wait, really? Like, because we were there to see it because we had to be there. But I'm like, if you don't have to be here, why are you here?
Why are you here?
Like, why are you doing this to yourself?
There was another group that was like about the same size as ours, maybe a little bigger.
That's right.
Group of friends. So we had a fair amount of people in the theater. I don't know if they were also YouTubers. That's why they were seeing it. But they definitely got people together. Like, it seemed like the only people that saw that were YouTubers.
You know what? I think you might be right. And you know what's weird about that movie, if I'm gonna be just really honest, and don't worry, folks, we're not making this whole show about Madam Web.
No.
But what's crazy about that movie to me was the fact that everyone kind of walked away from that unscathed, right? Like everyone involved in the film.
Except him. Yeah, no, they really did. I mean, maybe
like I don't think anybody's career is ruined because of it. You know what I mean? Which is weird for a movie to be that bad.
Yeah, Dakota might have a little heat because just of some of her comments. Like, you might have people in Hollywood who are like, "Well, you badmouthed the project," but
but I don't think she lost anything with the fan. I think the audiences are like, "Yeah, we know it's bad," and she came out and admitted, "Yeah, it's kind of bad." And okay, as long as she admitted it, everybody's kind of okay with her. Obviously Sydney Sweeney and her, star is just continuing to rise from it. So yeah,
I think Sydney Sweeney came out of it better. Like, for everything that Sydney Sweeney's been doing, I think Madam Web actually got her the most attention.
Which is weird to say, man. Which is crazy to say, but yeah.
It really is. Like, the conversation was all about her and how like dressed down she was. And people going like, why would you have Sydney Sweeney come in and then, have her like all covered up and playing the nerd? And I was like, I don't know, man. That was kind of working for me. I actually like nerd Sydney Sweeney more than
You know what?
Sydney
I'm not going to lie.
Sweeney.
It wasn't bad. But here's the thing. It's Sydney Sweeney. Like, how bad could she ever really look? I mean, it was. That's
true.
They
tried to Rachel Lee Cooker though, in the
they tried
that or whatever. Yeah, it's like put glasses on her and give her a ponytail and then she'll be ugly. And it's like, that's not the way it works, Hollywood.
You know what's crazy? They actually did play the hot nerd girl trope, right? Like, like they tried it.
They tried it. Yeah. That's going back to, they tried. They gave it their best shot, but they really didn't deliver. Yeah, they tried everything in that, and none of it worked. But like you said,
the only person in our group who came out of the movie upset was MVP. He was like, that movie actually made me angry. And the rest of us were all like, we had a good time with it. We were like, why did they do this? What was happening? What with this decision and this decision? And like this part of the story doesn't make sense. You know, that we were all having a good time with that. But like Max was actually angry.
Oh no, man. I was like, dude, my edibles had kicked in right when the movie started. So like I enjoyed the whole ride, man. Like I was like, all right, this is bad. This is bad, but I'm gonna enjoy it.
I can't wait till it's like The Room and we go to screenings of Madam Web and we like,
oh yeah, like a midnight show.
We give each other baby shower invitations for that scene, and just like
absolutely
throw little stuffed birds at the screen when the crow hits the window. Just all the things that are in that movie that just
I just love how unapologetic what's her name? The lead.
Dakota
Johnson.
Dakota. Like I just love how
Dakota
unapologetic
Johnson.
she was and how much she hated this movie.
Yes,
like she did tours on how much she hated this movie. Like media tours. Like who does that?
And they might say like, oh, she hurt the film's box office. She made me want to see it more with that
Actually,
tour.
yeah.
Like, I'm really interested in what happened here.
Now, here's the thing. She'll never work for Sony again, for sure.
No.
But when they give you Madam Web, why would you want to?
Yeah, that's
I
a
think
good
Sony
point.
is about done with this Spider-Man stuff. They've already bumped back. What's the next movie coming out? Craven. They bumped that back. So I think they are just about out of gas with this whole thing. And it's just like, it's sad because these are good, interesting characters if you follow them in the comics. And it could have been a really cool universe if they really, focused on doing it right, but yeah, this is what they gave us, Madam Web and Venom 2. And now we got Craven coming up, Morbius. Like, oh my God, man, you guys just don't get it.
I guess for me, I don't understand what they're trying to accomplish with all these films. Like, is there a goal? Is there a plan?
Well, I thought they were trying to set up the Sinister Six at first. Okay, we got the Sinister Six, which is, you had who was it in the Vulture?
I can help you here. Vulture.
Yeah, you got Vulture. You had
Craven.
Scorpion. Who else? You have Mysterio. He popped up in the Spider-Man movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you're gonna bring in Craven the Hunter. And you can add a couple of more characters. You can mix and match. Maybe Rhino shows up. I mean, you have the genesis right already. And Morbius. Obviously, you have a genesis for a Sinister Six to take on Spider-Man, but they haven't put Spider-Man in any of these movies. So it's like, at what point in time are we going to get to that?
They're just randomly grabbing characters too, because the core Sinister Six is Dr. Octopus, Mysterio,
Doc Ock, yep,
Craven the Hunter,
right,
Vulture, Sandman. And
was it Green Goblin?
No, it wasn't Green Goblin. Although it is another character that wears green and purple.
The
only one that doesn't. No, it's wait, let me see. Mysterio.
That's a good question because
Sandman.
I don't know. I always thought the Green Goblin was part of the Sinister Six, but maybe I'm off.
No, it's always been Doc Ock's team.
Okay,
yeah.
And everybody wears green and purple except for Craven. Like, so when they showed up on the day, like Doc Ock's like, "Come on, Craven, we're trying to look like a team," and he's like, "No, I'm not doing it."
It wasn't.
Somebody said Lizard.
No, it's not Lizard.
Was it Scorpion?
No, it's not Scorpion, and you would think because he was green. Damn it! How am I missing? I gotta write this down.
You know what? Maybe the chat knows, man. Prowler. Somebody in the chat said Prowler. Was it the Prowler?
It was not.
I don't think it was a Prowler either. No. I need to look it up.
No, it wasn't a Prowler. That's a good question.
Mysterio. I know at one point Hobgoblin. Electro. Thank you.
Electro.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, chat. In fact, let me. Who was that? Who said this?
There we go.
Thank you so much.
It was Electro.
It was driving me insane that I couldn't recall that.
But I think they were trying to put together their own.
Remember who the Sinister Six was? So
I think they were trying to just put together their own Sinister Six. That's why they brought Morbius in. And remember the little post-credit scene with Michael Keaton showing up at the end of Morbius, talking about putting
zero sense.
But
like,
in my,
where do you get the Chitauri technology in this universe? They don't exist here. Like, and then just like he shows up and he's like, it's got something to do with Spider-Man. I think, sure, yeah, all this has something to do with Spider-Man, but not really.
Right.
And when Morbius go, who the hell's Spider-Man?
There's absolutely no way like we're gonna get a Sony Spider-Man film anytime soon. Like I don't think so.
Maybe a
Nah.
Miles. They might do a Miles movie.
You think after Spider-Verse though that like they'll pull the trigger and do a live action?
Hollywood,
Yeah.
I think that they'll be like, well, obviously this was successful, so how can we miss?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
no,
Yeah.
I think that's their next. I think that's their next move. 100%. They're gonna go to Miles Morales and they're gonna launch that. I don't know if after they do this after Tom Holland. I don't know if this is the next Spider-Man movie that they're gonna make after Tom, but they're gonna get there eventually.
But you know what though? It would actually just make more sense if they just go ahead and do Miles and just leave Peter with the MCU. I mean, I'm not saying that's much better right now because the MCU's garbage right now, but it seems like they have Miles. They can start fresh, right? They don't have to have the baggage of the MCU right now, and they could just kind of do their own thing. But the problem is like they got to make good movies, man. And after Madam Web, like no one is going to trust Sony. No one, man.
I don't know how they keep hiring these guys to do these scripts, and you see them on the red carpet, and they're talking about it. They're talking about it. It's just really painful to watch. And it's like, okay, look, you guys, I'm cheap. Even if you don't want me to write the script, I can script supervise it for you, and I can get it there. Like I know
that's the thing. Any true comic book fan could probably do that for them, but it's an ego thing, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know how it is out here. It's an ego thing, and it's weird that they keep going to these same guys who keep failing over and over.
Yeah, because this was the writers of Morbius, right? The writers of Morbius wrote Madam Web.
Yeah.
Why would you double down on that?
Insane.
And by the way, what a waste of Matt Smith, man, in that movie.
Oh, man, you have Matt Smith in your film.
It's even a waste of Jared Leto, which is really scary to say, but.
No, look, man. I know people give Jared Leto a hard time. I think he's a good actor, man. I think he's a decent actor. So
he just can't pick a project to save his life.
Was he the Joker? No, absolutely not. But I mean, but he's done other good things though.
Yeah. I'll say this about his Joker because we didn't get to see a lot of it, and what I saw in the Snyder cut, I absolutely hated. But I will say that when he walked into a room as the Joker, that little bit that we got in David Ayer's movie, I was uncomfortable. Like he did, his portrayal did make me uncomfortable because, I did feel like I didn't know what direction it was going to go in. And I don't know if that discomfort was just from me as a fan going like, oh, are they going to really mess this up? Or if it was just genuine discomfort as kind of the threat that he posed. But like there was definitely an uneasiness there, especially when he comes in and he's like interrogating the guy in the casino.
I think if they actually had like really dove in and finally said that Joker was the version of the Joker that killed Robin in the Snyder universe, I could have bought it a little bit better. I could have been like, okay, he's a dangerous guy. He's already killed a Robin. I just think that it was like in a vacuum. It was just like, here's this weird Joker that we'll never see again.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I feel like he played it that way too. You know what I mean? Like I didn't mind Gangster Joker. Like, and that's the thing. People were like, "Oh, that's not the Joker." There's been so many variations of the Joker in the comics. Like so many variations. There's the Joker, the joking Joker. There's the Gangster Joker. There's a lot of different versions of the Joker. And I didn't mind if they went with that version, but it's like if you're gonna go with that version, then I don't know, like it needed something more than what they gave him. And maybe he just needed more parts in that movie. Maybe it was just that he didn't have that many things to do in the movie. But I don't know. I feel like it was wasted. There's
a great graphic novel by Grant Morrison. It's got to be coming up. If it hasn't passed its 30-year anniversary, it's got to be coming up on it. But it's called Arkham Asylum, a serious house on serious.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and in that, they have the psychologist talking about how the Joker has a unique form of madness or insanity that they've never encountered before, and they're trying to catalog it. And they said it's almost like a super sanity where he wakes up every day and he recreates himself in his mind. So you could use something like that to explain, oh, he's in a gangster mode right now. This is who he's recreated himself as.
See, that would have been great. Something like that. That would have been really cool.
Mm-hmm. But see, that takes somebody who knows the comic books to come in and go, what do you want to do? And then actually say, okay, you want to do this? Here's how we do it, and have it make sense and have the fans accept it. That's why they need people who actually understand this stuff, understand these characters. You don't need Zack Snyder just coming in and going, I know who Batman is. Batman will kill because it doesn't make sense if he doesn't kill. And you're like, okay, you don't get Batman. Or he's, Superman's going to be really grim and his dad's going to tell him to let people die. And it's like, okay, you don't understand the Kents. You don't understand Superman. Stop giving these movies to people who don't get it, because you're latching onto these properties because they have endured and because they have this long-lasting fan base. And then you do everything you can to alienate that fan base to go after an audience that, is indifferent at best. And then by the time they see the crap fest that you put on the screen, is actively hostile towards it. And that's what we're seeing with like the MCU now. That's what we're seeing with the DCU. It's just everybody's just kind of over it, and everybody has this adversarial relationship now with these studios.
Yep. Perfectly said.
Yeah, and actually, speaking of which, since we're on DC, and this wasn't part of the plan, but this just happened today. We got a reveal of the new Superman outfit for James Gunn's Superman Legacy.
Oh wow! Okay, let's see.
Yeah, have you guys seen it yet?
Yeah,
I have not.
You know what?
Is it that bad?
I'm gonna pull it up so you can check it out. Let me see. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Superman's about to do the walk of shame.
Yeah, I don't know why he's getting dressed or putting his clothes on that way.
It looks like the city's being attacked behind him.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like,
Okay, so he's getting ready. He seems very nonchalant, like he's getting ready.
Casually putting on a boot.
Yeah, I'm not understanding this at all.
He's got super speed.
Is this some sort of a still from the film, or is this?
It's one still. It's the only picture that we got, and
wow,
it's just kind of weird, man.
Why would you make this your first image? The first shot of the costume that you released is him just casually putting on a boot while there's some craziness going on outside, and he looks like he couldn't be more bored. There's nothing heroic or inspiring or interesting about this image.
This was released by Gunn, you said, right?
It was.
Yeah,
this was released by James Gunn, and for some reason, this is what they decided to go with.
This is what they decided to go with. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. I guess maybe they just wanted to see him in his costume, I guess, but this isn't the pose I would have chosen to have him in his, sitting in a chair, putting on a boot. Like, what's that all about?
I know maybe James Gunn thinks it's a little cliche, but can you imagine what a better reaction we would have got if we would have just got the classic? Like, don't even reveal the whole costume. Just give us the S. Just give him like the actor pulling open the shirt, in that classic, Superman going to save the day. Yeah. Give us that as a teaser image, and people would have been excited. It's like, yeah, we don't get to see the whole costume yet, but they would have been excited about it.
This feels like, again, another one of these deconstruction films. It's going to deconstruct the character. It's going to do something with the character that we're not used to. When I see an image like that, that's what it pulls out of me. It's like, okay, this is going to be something. He's not going to give us a classic all-American, truth, justice in the American way kind of story. He's going to give us something else, and I think that's where they needed to go with Superman Legacy, whatever he's called. I guess it's just Superman now. It's not even Superman Legacy anymore. I think he just needed to give us classic Superman. Just bring us back in, make us hope, make us believe, and then, whatever else you want to do after that, give us a different iteration, fine. But give us like just classic Superman.
Well, the thing I really don't understand is, and I get it, there's been this trend in superhero films where they need to make the costume overly complicated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, instead of it just being a sleek design, like in the comics, because if we're being honest about that, I think most studios are kind of ashamed of those outfits. So that's why they go out of their way to change them or make them look very different, because they don't think they're going to work on screen, right? But I feel like Superman is the one hero or character and him and Spider-Man, where you could do the simple thing and it works. It worked for Christopher Reeve.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Superman's an icon. He's an icon all over the world. People know the character. So you don't really need to reinvent him. I've never felt like you need to we got to do something different with Superman. Like, no, just give us Superman.
We don't need to do something different. We can have the original sleek costume.
Yeah.
You can give it a little texture. You can give it a little bit of something. But, I said on Twitter, the more lines, the more textures, the more complications you put on Superman's costume, the more you remove the simple charm and elegance of Superman.
Yeah.
This looks, and I think Gary from Nerdrotic tweeted that this, here's your Party City Superman costume. And that's exactly what it looks like. Just something they overworked, they overdid it. And I know, hey, you're a costume designer, you want to put your mark on the film or whatever, like we see it all the time. They do a G.I. Joe movie and we get a bunch of crappy costumes that don't look anything like G.I. Joe because the designer comes in and is like, well, I'm gonna put my mark on it. And it's like, well, then why are you doing this iconic property? Make the costume look like the costume from the comics, from the cartoons. Make it look like what people remember. You can put a little spin on it. You can, pizzazz it up a little bit, but you will get far more respect doing costume designs that echo the things that we're familiar with and the things that we already love. I know I said echo, and then we immediately all thought costume design, right?
Yeah.
Ooh.
But that's the thing. They want to go. It's like like you said, they're ashamed of the classic. Like, I'm so happy to see Wolverine in Deadpool and Wolverine looking like Wolverine. Like, okay, somebody got it. Let's go ahead and just give him Wolverine. That's what we've always wanted. So yeah, to me, it's just like they're ashamed of the property, but they want to capitalize off of it. They want to make some money off of it, but we're kind of, this is kind of weird. It's kind of shameful. I don't really want to, give you the classic Superman with the red trunks and I don't want to do all of that. I'm just going to give you like a different version of Superman. And then they'll go and justify it by going deep into the comic lore and finding all the little things. Oh, look, they did it in one issue way, way, way back a long time ago. And it's like, yeah, but that's not the like definitive version of the character. And they'll do this not just with costumes, but with everything. They'll take one little snippet of something and they'll say, oh, that's the thing. And I'm like, okay, I got ya. But at the same time, that's not the definitive version. That's not the version of the character that made this character who this character, was. And so I feel like you should always try to strive to give people that, especially when you're trying to adapt something for a general audience. You don't want to give them like the one-time offshoot version of these characters. Give us the definitive article, and most people will rock with it.
Right, and we're talking about James Gunn, man. There's very few people in Hollywood I have faith in anymore. But I feel like he's at least been consistent. I can kind of trust him a little bit more than I could trust most directors when it comes to at least comic book related movies. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like at least he's read, at least he knows these characters, which is probably more than 99% of the directors in Hollywood, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm not going to take this one picture and hold on to it. Maybe this was just a quick promo, and maybe the suit's going to look very different in the film, right? But that doesn't give me a lot of hope, though. I'm sorry, like that costume just doesn't inspire, especially not after seeing Henry Cavill, in his outfit and how he looked,
Yeah,
I'll give it a chance because when we first, even though the movie ended up being god awful, I think most people appreciated Sasha Calle as Supergirl in The Flash, even though the movie was awful. And when they first showed off her costume, when we saw stills of it, it looked awful. But in the context of the film, it actually looked good and it actually worked. So it may look much better in live action, but just still, what a misstep releasing this as the first image that we get to see of the costume.
Agreed.
Yeah, no, it was. And you know what? In my first live show, guys, I know I kind of screwed the pooch a little bit when it came to the comments. So don't worry, I'm definitely going to get to the comments a lot faster this time. I'm going to intermix them into the show this time instead of doing them all at the end. Again, that was just a test run, so I'm trying to get it more streamlined. So don't worry, I will get to your comments. And I know a lot of you got comments about this very topic right now, which was actually a surprise topic for us because we weren't even supposed to talk about this today. But
this is what we got.
That's how this business works, man. Let's see. All right, I got this one right here. It says, Bruce Jack Stone, classic Wonder Woman with blue Star Spangled trunks on her. Yeah, just the classics, man.
Yeah.
Just the classics. Like, you don't have to look. I don't mind like making it more modern, but you don't have to stray that far from the original. You get what I'm saying?
And you can't tell me these costumes don't work. It's like, well, that costume would never look good in real life. And then you go to a Comic-Con and there's a cosplayer who has duplicated the costume exactly, and it looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I've seen so many amazing jobs from cosplayers going out and doing the old school like content. And I'm like, this looks amazing. Like, wow. And they can't do it in film. Come on, get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I agree. We have another comment from a friend of ours.
Hey.
Chris Gore, man. Great to see Team Oreo. That makes
Hey,
you
real quick, what, hey,
vanilla,
Dante,
Aaron.
I'll be right back.
Love
I'll
you
be right
all.
back.
I guess so. I guess so.
That's great.
I don't want to get all arrogant, but with Oreo, isn't the cream filling the best part?
And yes, guys, Chris Gore will be back soon. So just keep him in your prayers and stay on his ass. Make sure he takes care of himself. We're gonna read another comment real quick. This is from another one from Bruce Jackstone. Classic Superman with red trunks on him. You know, I know that's it's a hard look to pull off on film. I'm not gonna lie, but you know, I still feel like there's a way to do it, right? Like there's a way to make that look okay.
It worked for Christopher Reeves, and then we saw the hoax picture that came out a few months ago. And man, now that this picture is out, they've really I understand why they got so pissed that hoax picture came out and that so many people bought into it, because it was the classic Superman costume with the red trunks. It looked good. Like the only comment I had on it was I was like, the cape's a little too short, but otherwise I like it. And now with this one, I'm like, yeah, I have like 18 problems with this costume so far, as well as the picture that they chose to put up. So,
you know, my thing is this, man. If you're not ready for, you know, your costume to be seen yet, then don't post it, right? Like I can understand if it was a leak, but this doesn't look like a leak, man. Like someone actually went out of their way to release this picture, you know, and it looks unfinished.
And it looks AI. It looks or at least badly photoshopped, like the whole background, and you know, it looks really rushed.
Yeah, no, it really does, man. I think it was a mistake to put this out right now. And maybe I'm off, but when is it released, or when it's supposed to be released?
I don't even know. I think it's next year, but I have like so little interest in it. I have not paid attention.
Yeah, so it's pretty far away. Like it's not like it's coming up this summer.
I don't know when anything comes out anymore. The only way I know is in our movie group when it's like, hey, this Thursday, this movie, and I'm like, oh, that's coming out already. Like I used to know movie releases like the back of my hand. I'd be like, on this week I'm seeing this, on this week I'm seeing this, and man, lately stuff comes out, and unless you guys tell me, I don't even know.
Yeah, honestly, man, like I've been covering for Chris on Film Threat with Alan on Fridays, and so I've been going to the movies a lot more over the past couple of weeks. And I got to be honest, man, like there for a while I had no idea what was in the theater until someone told me. Like I just didn't know. I'm more aware of it now because I have to do it, but I just don't care anymore.
Yeah. Well, there's
like
not
I
much
wish I did, but
it's worth caring. You know, that like is worth caring about. Aside from like horror movies, which you know you can always generally pretty much count on horror movies, and even when they're bad, they're generally pretty good. And you know,
not Tarot, not Tarot.
Not Tarot. Okay.
Yeah, no, that was.
I haven't even heard about that one.
That was bad. Like that was some BS, man. Like that was one of the probably the worst film I've seen already this year.
Is that one you were forced to go see for the show?
Yes, and it was bad, man. It was like
nice.
I talked about it with Alan last Friday. It was not good. So
well,
you can probably skip that.
I have a friend who's producing a couple horror movies, and hopefully, you know, I have faith in her, so I think that those will come out really well. So I'm excited about that. But aside from that, like you know, most of the studio stuff is just indie stuff that I'm really excited about now. You know,
yeah,
I think that we're hitting a point where the studio system has just become so bloated and so corrupt. And you know, this is something that, you know, you guys talk about on Film Thread all the time that Chris always brings up. The bloat of Hollywood has made everything so expensive that these projects can't make any money. Even when they're good, people just don't want to go, you know, there's just not enough people going to the theater and spending the money to see them. And they're certainly not going back for repeat viewings like they used to, because we all know it's going to be, hey, even if I liked it, it's going to be on streaming in 3 weeks, a month, you know, whatever. It's going to show up there so I can watch it again then. Movies have made themselves not special events anymore. It's you know
Yeah,
the switch to streaming and calling everything content, I think also shifted the mindset into it didn't matter what you made as long as it was there. And
right.
that seems to be what we're getting from Hollywood. We're just getting content. We're no longer getting art. We're no longer getting films that people are passionate about and that care about. It's just it's just a sewage pipeline just pumping it out.
Yep.
And every now and then, something good will come flying out of the pipe, but it's few and far between.
You know what's funny is I was looking at you guys know that website, The Numbers, the-numbers. It gives you like the box office breakdowns and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at the tickets sold. There's like a ticket sold graph. It goes back from like 1996 or something all the way to the current time. Tickets sold peaked in 2002. And it's just been downhill from there. Like the amount of actual ticket purchasers at movie theaters in the domestic, it has just been downhill from there. And then obviously it like completely plummeted during the pandemic. But it hasn't recovered, not even to 2019 standards. And I don't think anybody, I think the ecology or the ecosystem that Hollywood created has led to all of this. Like people are like, okay, well, I can just stay at home and watch streaming. The movie that's out right now, like this Fall Guy movie that everybody's, oh man, it's a great movie. You guys should go out and see it. It's got great reviews. It's got great critic reactions and great audience reactions, good word of mouth. That thing's going to bomb. That thing's going to bomb spectacularly because nobody's going to go and pay, 20, 25, whatever it is for a ticket plus popcorn, plus take a date or whatever. Nobody's going to pay for that. When it's going to be on streaming in about 2 or 3 months, I'll just wait for them. It doesn't feel important enough to go and watch that movie. Now, I saw it. I thought it was a great film, And if you don't have something like A-List, if you don't have like one of these packages from AMC or something, you're not going to the movies because you're not going to make a continual habit of going to movies week after week after week because just not the content just isn't that good. And you just said content, calling it content, but that's what it is. It feels like content. It doesn't feel like art. It doesn't feel like this is important, Right. And I was just saying that on the previous stream with Film Threat. Star Wars, it felt like an event. Like when a Star Wars movie came out, I gotta go see this. This is important, And it's like movies have really lost that. They really have lost the feeling of an event. Like a Marvel film doesn't even feel like an event anymore, And it was feeling that way.
Oh no, they haven't been.
Yeah, but I mean the last
No Way Home,
except for Spider-Man. But why? Because we were going to get Tobey Maguire. We're going to get oh God, why is his name escaping me
Willem
now?
Dafoe, Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield. That's
Alfred
the other one.
Molina.
Yeah.
We're going to get that mashup.
Right. And that's what made it the event. And it feels like now we are returning to that era where like almost like when television first came on the scene back in the 50s and Hollywood said, well, what are we going to make? We got to make these bigger spectacle films. We got to make Ben-Hur, this 3-hour-long epic, because you can't get that on television.
Right.
We got to do these large spectacles. And that's what it feels like Hollywood is in that realm right now. We got to do spectacle. Otherwise, people aren't going to show up. But now people aren't even showing up for the spectacle. So it's like, I don't know what Hollywood does at this point. I don't know how they fix this. But this is probably nobody's going to the movies. Nobody's going to movies.
I mean, here's the thing, though. I don't know if it is fixable at this point, man. And I'm going to tell you why for a few reasons. Number one, the audience is different, right? It's different. Like when we were younger, the movies were everything.
Yeah.
Right. Like we looked, all we did was go to the movies with our friends, with our families. During holidays, we gather around and watch movies together. The younger ones don't do that as much, or not to the extent that we did anyway. Right. Because they have a lot of distractions. They have the video games. They have the internet. They have all these things. That's one thing. Right. But
they're also broke because of the economy. They're also broke because
they're also broke. So they're not, and you're talking $20 a film.
Yep.
Yeah.
When we were younger, it was what, $5? Maybe
$5
$10 at the better theaters, but it was it was just different. And then you have that along with the drop in quality, right, of movies today. So I mean, it's the film industry is never really going to recover from this. At least not the big studios. I think the smaller studios are going to do a lot better. Like I think you're going to see a lot of them come up. because they're buying in low and they're making profit. These big studios are losing money every single movie they make.
But they got to get these budgets under control. They're making, $150 million. Like Fall Guy is $130 million.
That's insane.
And look, they made Bullet Train, which is the previous. I think that was David Leitch's previous film was Bullet Train, and they made Bullet Train for $80 million. So I'm like, so where's the extra $50 million? Because they're pretty much similar type of movies, right? Where's the extra $50 million coming from? Like, is that because Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling just asked for much more money than Brad Pitt and Sandra Bullock, or David Allen Tyree or whoever? Like, why?
I think it's bigger sets, bigger sets, more locations. Because Bullet Train is fairly small on location.
Yeah, it's kind of on one train. Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's probably what bloated it more than anything.
I just feel like with the amount of stunt work that was done and with everything that happened on the Fall Guy. And I don't know if that bloated the budget as well, but I mean, it just needed to be under 100 million. You got to make movies under 100 million. They got to get back to doing that, figuring that formula out, and then they can maybe start making some money. But this is going to be a bomb. I don't think there's any way in the world they're going to make this money.
What was the final number for this weekend? Was it like 25 million or 28 million?
28.5. Well, let me see, because there was also the I don't know what it was worldwide, but you really can't count on that anyway. But yeah, I think it was like, let me see. Yeah, the final number for the Fall Guy was 27. So it actually dropped. They actually said it was 28.5 million domestic. It's 27.7 million
for opening weekend.
64.
That's really bad, man. That's bad.
That's what I'm saying. Like Bullet Train.
I'm gonna go see it this week. I'm gonna go see it this week, but I'm
gonna. The movie isn't bad, yeah. but
my $7 isn't gonna help. The $7 matinee that I spend isn't gonna help.
You know what? It was a fun movie. It was enjoyable. I don't know why he's doing so bad, to be honest with you.
People have checked out of Hollywood. They don't trust. Like I said, if I know this film's coming out in 2 months on VOD, what's the urgency to watch it now? What's the urgency to go into a theater and spend $20 to watch this movie? I don't think there is.
What I'm surprised about, though, is I feel like Ryan Gosling has enough, he's built a lot of goodwill with women because of Barbie, that I thought that they would come support him in this, and apparently they didn't.
No,
because it's not their type of movie. Also, there's
but it is a love story.
A lot of feminists that are mad at Ryan Gosling because, of course, he got all the attention. Everybody saw Barbie and was like, "Oh, Ken's the good guy. Barbie's horrible," and then he got the nomination. The Ken song got the nomination.
Right.
He basically he stole that out from under women. So just because Ryan Gosling, he's very charming. Like I've liked him in everything I've seen him in. Even Baby Driver, which was I thought was slow and I can't remember much about, but I liked him. And then him showing up as Beavis and Butthead, like him showing up as Beavis on the red carpet, like he's got a good sense of humor about himself. So he's likable, but that's not translating to box office. And I think you were actually right when you say that like people are just checked out on Hollywood. And I think that guys like Ryan Gosling, even though he's not political, even though he's not out there running his mouth and being arrogant like so many of the celebrities are, when you see Robert De Niro out there and he just won't shut up and you're just like, you see him, you see Mark Ruffalo, you see all these guys that are just, Rachel Zegler, all these people that are just always out there making spectacles of themselves. You kind of take it out on everybody. You go, I just don't even want to support any of this. You stop paying attention. And I think Fall Guy probably suffers from the fact that not a lot of people knew it existed and not a lot of people knew it came out.
Well, speaking of people who've made an ass of themselves recently, we're gonna transition into our next topic, which was May the 4th, man. That was this weekend. It was a big Star Wars weekend. And how did we start off this weekend?
Well, I called him Mr. President. He said, "You can call me Joe," and I said, "Can I call you Joe B1 Kenobi?"
Yeah.
Pokemon go to the polls. Go to the polls.
It saddens me that Mark Hamill has become, oh God, man. I don't even know what he is at this point, man. He's just a disappointment, dude. Like that's the only word I can think of. Like Mark Hamill has become such a disappointment. Like he is the furthest thing from Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. It's like he's actually making me less critical of The Last Jedi, because I'm like, did he come onto set and start talking to Rian Johnson, and Rian Johnson was like, or like when Rian Johnson met with him before he wrote the script, he was like, oh, I'm just going to write Mark Hamill as he is now, like just a sad, bitter, ridiculous old man. And then so he actually put Mark Hamill on the screen instead of Luke Skywalker. That's the way it seems to me, because you're right. He's just an absolute cringe fest of daily embarrassment on Twitter. And then this was just the biggest clown show.
You know what he looked like?
I can't believe this is a real timeline.
He looked like that drunk uncle who, like, when the bride is getting toasted, he grabs the mic and just starts saying some outlandish shit. Like that's what Mark Hamill came off as when he did that press thing this weekend. When
you make that press secretary look like the smartest person at the mic, you have messed up.
You have failed, my friend. You have failed.
It was rough to watch that. And again, Mark Hamill is somebody we all grew up, idolizing. I mean, it was like, Luke Skywalker, the hero of our youth, of our generation. And he's just transformed. I mean, maybe this is always who he's been, but this is one of the big problems in Hollywood, is like everybody in Hollywood seems to want to wear all of this out there on their sleeves. They want to get out there and say everything about their own personal political opinions and ideologies. And it's like, guys, can you keep it to yourselves? Like Michael Jordan famously once said, conservatives buy tennis shoes too. You're literally alienating half of your audience by constantly coming out and making, statements like this. It's to the point where if Lucasfilm came out and said, hey, we're going to bring back Luke Skywalker, we're going to reintroduce Luke Skywalker, we're going to have Mark Hamill play him, we may de-age him or this or that, I think there would be some pushback just based on the stuff that he's saying right now. Like this conversation and all of the stuff that he keeps putting out there on Twitter. I think there would be legitimate pushback from a lot of fans. Maybe not everybody. A lot of people would be excited, but I think a lot of people would just be like, I'm cool on Luke. I'm cool on Mark
I don't
Hamill.
care. I don't care anymore. They just announced Hot Toys just announced a Luke Skywalker Dark Empire figure, and he's dressed like I believe it was what's his name? He's based off of the covers of Dark Empire, which were painted by Dave Dorman.
Right.
And it's great. He's got like the Vader pants. He's got like a Vader kind of inspired outfit. It's from that comic series. That was like huge at the time. And I've always loved that look of that Dave Dorman cover. And I would be right in on that Hot Toys until we hit this week. They unfortunately they announced it the same week that Mark Hamill came out and just did that whole cringe bit at the White House and said that Joe Biden's the best president we've ever had, and just like did all this effusive praise on Twitter. And it's like, oh, you're a crazy person. And it's like, I no longer want a physical representation of Mark Hamill even in my house, even though it's Luke Skywalker and not Mark Hamill. Yeah. It's tainted for me now, because Star Wars is already tainted, and now you even have tainted my memories of the good films.
I think between Mark Hamill and Kathleen Kennedy, my love for Star Wars is gone. I don't even try anymore. I was looking at some of the old things I have in storage, like some of my old figures and my old comics and and I'm like, I could just give those away now. Like I don't need them anymore. Like the love that I had, and it's funny because Adrienne Curry, a lot of you guys know who she is. She tweeted out that, that the last time she cosplayed, because she's a big cosplayer, and she used to do a lot of Star Wars cosplay, and she was just like, it saddens her that she has to give up something she loves. But I feel like, we all have to give it up, because we're never going to get that Star Wars back. We're not. It's never coming back, guys.
It's funny that you mentioned that too, that you mentioned your collection, because this week I'm going to storage to go through my collection and sell a bunch of stuff. I'm just going to take a bunch of Star Wars stuff and I'm going to sell it. I'm just going to dump it and get rid of it, because I don't care anymore. I'm so indifferent to Star Wars and even the films that I grew up with and all the toys that I collected. And for Disney to run me off, I'm a guy who was spending money on, when Lucas still had it, and it was during the Clone Wars was on, and they were doing the Force Unleashed, and I was buying everything. I have the Darth Maul Pepsi statue that, you know, Pepsi released in stores to advertise the Phantom Menace. I got him the master. I had him repainted so that he looks really good, and I got him the master replica's double-bladed lightsaber instead of that little cheap one that he came with. You know,
Yeah.
so the display could look good. That giant Millennium Falcon that hung in Toys R Us during the re-releases. I bought that from Toys R Us, and I have that. This is the level of collector that I have. I have storage tub upon storage tub of loose action figures because I would take every one of them out. I would customize them. That's how into Star Wars I was. And now I just don't care. I just don't care. And how the more they ruin it, I'm so indifferent now. The Acolyte looks like a train wreck, and I'm not even mad. I'm like, good, faster Star Wars, burn.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
for a lot of
pretty
people,
sad.
like
I
Star Wars has always
remember.
been-
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say Star Wars has always been, in my opinion, the one fandom that I will die upon. Like, that's the last. I'll die on Star Wars Hill. They'll be rolling my corpse off of that because that's the thing that brought me into, you know, even before comics. You know, when I was a 5-year-old kid and I'm sitting in the theaters watching Star Wars for the first time, I was blown away, and I've just loved it ever since. Obviously, with the Disney era, that's taken a big, you know, chunk of that love away, but I don't know how they recover from what they've done without burning it all the way to the ground and finding somebody that understood what Star Wars meant to people to bring it back. I don't know if they can. I just don't know where they're at with it. At this point, I think Star Wars, I've said this before, it's like the Titanic, this beautiful luxury liner that's just going across the ocean, and it hits the iceberg called Kathleen Kennedy. It's now sitting at the bottom of the ocean, and, you know, everybody's diving down, seeing if there's anything left to salvage. And it feels like there's nothing left to salvage from this. Your memories are that, you know, that first part of the voyage where it's going across the ocean, and, you know, you remember the Titanic movie, everybody's dancing, having a good time, eating, everything's great. And then it hits the iceberg. And now I don't know if they can ever, in my opinion, they can't do anything with this franchise.
Okay, but here's what I don't get. Here's, you know, and I talk as someone who's been in the business world for a very long time. When things aren't working, you got to course correct, right? When does this happen at Disney? When does Disney course correct?
Not until Bob Iger's gone, because he will never admit making a mistake. He will never admit that he put the wrong people in charge, that he made the wrong decisions, that it was stupid to let Kathleen Kennedy talk him out of making Galaxy's Edge based on the original movies, and instead making them, you know, that he'll never admit about, you know, you can ask him about the Galactic Star Cruiser and you'll get some BS answer. He'll try to blame it on Chapek probably, even though all this stuff was greenlit under him. All of these decisions are him, but he will never admit it. His ego cannot take it. So until you get rid of him and you get a CEO in there that is willing to say, we are hard resetting Star Wars. We are going back to those original 6 films are all that exist. We're bringing back the expanded universe, and we're going to start over from there. The sequels are Apocrypha. All of the Disney Plus stuff is Apocrypha. We're just going with the core vision that George had and oversaw. Until you get somebody who's willing to do that, Star Wars is, like Gary says, it's just a category on a failing streaming service.
Okay, but in order for that to happen, though, you got to have a CEO who's willing to take the heat from the DEI people, because that's what's going to happen, right? They're going to grill him for firing, you know, black people, gay people, or, you know, whatever the case may be. You're going to have some DEI asshole come in there and threaten whoever the new CEO is, right? Because that's what they do. They threaten these CEOs, you know, telling them that they're going to, you know, blast them for being transphobic or being homophobic or being racist. They'll threaten them like they do with every other company, right? So this CEO would have to have huge brass balls to go in there and do something like that.
I'll tell you what, Disney, I'll do it. Sign me for a year. I'll clean house, and then I'll leave. You can put another CEO in. You'll get another CEO in who will give you like all kinds of positive PR, and they'll be all happy that I'm gone. But you know what? I will have cleaned house for you, and I will have reset everything for you, and you can start over with a clean slate, because I don't care. I walk in and I say, what is going to make money? Well, you know what makes money? Satisfying your customers. How do we satisfy our customers? We get rid of all this stuff that they don't like, and we start making things that they do like. And I don't care about anybody's feelings. I don't care about DEI. I don't care about ESG. Anybody can work here. You know, that's fine. But you know what's going to get you in the door? Merit. If you don't have merit, you're not coming in. After that, I don't care who you are. I
Bingo.
don't care what you look like. I don't care who you sleep with. I don't care what
Right.
your religion is. I don't care about any of that. But you have to have talent, and you have to have vision, and you have to have passion to be here.
And my first question to whoever I hire would be, do you respect the fans?
Mm-hmm.
Right,
And
yeah.
If, if the answer is anything but yes, you got to go.
Yep.
Now, I know you're going to talk about it later, so we'll talk about it later, but we just had HellDivers. They absolutely respected the fans. They listened to the fans. They heard the fans. The fans spoke, and the CEO, or I'm not sure who made the decision, but they took responsibility for their mistakes. And that's what they don't do at Disney. They don't ever even admit to the mistakes. Bob Iger will never admit, you know what, we got it wrong. We got it wrong when it came to the sequel trilogy. We got it wrong with everything we've done. We're going to put a hard stop right now. We're going to retool. We're going to pull back on all Star Wars content. We'll see you guys in about 4 or 5 years after we've developed what it is that we want to do. That's what a responsible company does. They don't just continue to let the company just circle the drain and go down the tubes. They don't do that. They actually care about their audience. They care about their customers. They care about the people that are feeding them and giving them money, and the people that built Star Wars into what Star Wars was. Star Wars wasn't a girl brand. Star Wars was a boy brand. Boys loved Star Wars. That's who you should be catering to, your base audience, not this woke nonsense. But again, they think everything that's on Twitter, I guess, is real life. This is really what people care about. And it's like, no, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. The evidence shows it. Nobody cares about the acolyte. I mean, I know a couple of people do, but for the most part, this thing is DOA.
It's so DOA. I don't know one person excited about this upcoming TV show, man. I mean, it's
nobody.
You know what? Screw it. Let's watch the trailer.
Oh no!
I'll be right back. I gotta hit something. I'll be right back, guys.
He just took us to church, and now he's got to dip out. He's like, whoo.
Right. Let me see. Let me pull this up because I've only seen it like the one time, and I feel like I want to watch it with you guys. So
I haven't seen it yet. I didn't watch this one.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
I only saw the trailer, so you're getting my.
Are we gonna get a real reaction? Okay.
Yeah, you're in for it, man. All right, here we go.
Last night, a Jedi was murdered.
Don't mention the Book of Boba.
Justify their galactic dominance in the name of peace. But that peace is a lie.
Jedi are being hunted. She was my student. I trained her. Let me be the one to bring her in.
I sense this is only a small part of a larger plan. Some sort of shift to tip the scales.
It's time
To face the past. Destiny is not decided for you by an anonymous force. If you want to pull the thread and change everything, then pull it.
What are you?
So there we go.
How about that?
So, Aaron, was it everything you thought it would be?
I felt nothing. I was kind of bored. I felt absolutely nothing. There was nothing there that stirred me. I mean, there's things that I made mental notes of, like the fact that she throws the knives at the lightsaber and she blocks the knives with the lightsaber. Well, I know that real Star Wars canon isn't paid attention to anymore, but you would block those with the Force. You wouldn't block those with the lightsaber because that's going to send molten metal flying at you. You know, the lightsaber doesn't just, you know, we've already seen, you know, you can cut through a door. It's still like slags metal. It's not,
does it
anyway,
though? Like do lightsabers do any damage anymore? Really?
No, you can run them through people and people are fine. You know, you can
Yeah.
stab them in the chest.
Yeah,
Like,
it's just a
Rita
flesh
gets stabbed,
wound.
Like, yeah, like 18 times. She's like looking like a pincushion. They got lightsabers all stuck in her. She's still fine because she's stunned in the brain. And all these
Sabine just had a little cigarette burn, you know, after she got impaled by a lightsaber, right?
And once you impale somebody, like if the lightsaber is not going to kill people, you know, if you know it has a habit of stabbing through people and not killing them, why would you not stab it through somebody and then just go up?
Right.
I'm pretty sure that'll kill them. Like there's just all these things that Disney has done. Nobody gets their arms cut off anymore. You know, like all these things that they've done to nerf lightsabers is.
I'm sorry, but my biggest problem right now. It's like, how come nobody gets a limb lopped off anymore? Why?
Nothing.
I mean, there was always that, like that. I guess I want to say grit, but there was some level of, hey, you know, these things can do some serious damage. You could lose an arm, you could lose a leg, you could lose your head. I mean, we don't see any of that anymore. You get stabbed in the gut, and then, you know, 2 hours later, you're just fine. You know, in the back to tank, just resting up. You know, it's like, I mean, come on,
tis but a flesh wound.
Tis a flesh wound. That's all, sire. It's like, why are we doing this to this great franchise? I was watching, and I haven't finished watching it, but I was watching, what is it? The Tales of the Empire. I was just watching a little bit
I
of
haven't
that.
even started that yet.
I mean, same thing. Well, not the same thing, but it's like, this is such a drag, man. Watching Star Wars now feels like a chore. It feels like work. It doesn't feel like fun, you know.
Yeah,
man.
but I heard they have a non-binary character in there now. So
Oh, well, then now I'll watch.
So there you go. Now it's good.
Yay. At the end of the day, these are stories about representation, and it's important.
It's important.
Is it though? Is it?
It's more important than story.
Well, like I said on the previous, Star Wars is literally like if McDonald's didn't know how to make a Big Mac anymore. That's basically what we got with Lucasfilm. Like Lucasfilm literally does not know how to make Star Wars content that people have grown up with and loved for decades. All right. Decades upon decades. It's like going to McDonald's saying, hey, guys, give me a Big Mac. What's that? And they give you this little flat hamburger. It's like, that's not a Big Mac.
Dude,
that's our Big Mac.
I'll tell you how much people love Star Wars, man. When we had that lull between Jedi and the Phantom Menace, right? That was like 20 years, right? Between the two, between
16
those
years. Yeah, 16 years.
Do you know how much Star Wars merch was sold during that time?
Oh, I mean, incredible amounts. I had to be.
Oh, a shitload. I mean, it was insane how much Star Wars merch when there was nothing happening for 20 years, right?
Yeah.
People still loved Star Wars, man. Now we have all this Star Wars content. No one cares.
Yeah.
No one buys anything, man. You can go to Target right now and you'll find Andor figures, you'll find Kenobi figures. You know, Reva's been there forever because no one's going to buy that shit. It's sad, man. Like, it's sad what Star Wars has become. It's become this property that just no one cares about anymore.
Right. Well, I said this, and I make this point often, that, you know, even post Revenge of the Sith. So it'd be between Revenge of the Sith and The Force Awakens, there was still, you know, interest. There was still energy behind the franchise. And when you got to The Force Awakens still holds the domestic record in the box office. That's how big Star Wars still was. That may be a record that never gets eclipsed. The domestic box office record still belongs to The Force Awakens. Almost did $1 billion domestically by itself. Bigger than Endgame, better than Infinity War. That's the power of Star Wars. That's how
that was all because of goodwill. There was a lot of goodwill going into The Force Awakens.
That's my point, but that's how much people were so anxious to see. All right, we're going to get Han, Luke, and Leia. It's one more adventure with these characters. They put them all in the trailers, and everybody was excited. And now, look where we are. Nobody cares about this thing. The Acolyte's about to drop. Nobody's watching this thing, okay? The last thing that came out was before the Bad Batch. What was it? Ahsoka. Nobody cared. The viewership fell off the side of a cliff. And then before that, it was Mando season 3. Viewership fell off after the first episode. Nobody watched it after that. I think unfortunately, they have lost track of number one, fundamental storytelling. You know, just telling good stories, period. Forget all of the drama about identity politics. Forget all the nonsense about ideology. Just tell us good stories like we used to get from, you know, the original Star Wars, the original trilogy, and then even the prequels. Although the prequels, shaky, you know, not the greatest storytelling. But one of the things that they just didn't, I don't know, again, in my opinion, they just don't understand how to get it done. They don't understand what the franchise is, what people like about the franchise. And so they're just throwing content out on Disney Plus, and it's just wrecking the brand. It's to the point now that I don't think anybody, when this Mandalorian and Grogu movie comes out, I think in 2 years, I don't think anybody's showing up for that either.
No, Grogu is he's done, man. He's done as a merchandising opportunity. He's the Mandalorian completely. Is like hanging on the shelf. I was out toy shopping today, and there's Mando like just hanging on the shelf. There's the new Star Wars figures from the Ahsoka show, just hanging on the shelf collecting dust. Nobody cares anymore, and it's not the brand of brands. They killed the golden goose. All you have to do, like, it's so sad. Like, remember at one point Disney bought Power Rangers and started to run that into the ground and then sold it back to Saban, and Saban had to go back and fix it. Anything Disney acquires, they smother. It took them a long time with Pixar, but they've done it to Pixar. They did it to Power Rangers until Power Rangers escaped. They've done it to Marvel now, and they've done it to Star Wars.
Yeah. I mean, they're
not the company they used to be.
I just don't think Lucasfilm, you know, I just don't think it could be fixed anymore. I feel like, you know, maybe the one thing that could maybe save them is if they actually like just stick with gaming. Like, but after seeing the new game that's coming out, even that looks pretty bad. Outlaws, that looks pretty bad. So I'm like, I don't know.
Oh, man, yeah, that looks
I mean,
horrible.
Jedi Survivor was good, you know, and maybe if they focus on things like that, they could just go into gaming instead of trying to do movies, because it's not working. You know, I mean, the Star Wars shows on Disney Plus aren't working. The movies aren't working. So what do you do? Like, what do you do?
At the end of the day, Marvel, Star Wars, and even to a lesser extent, you know, the Pixar movies, Disney's princess movies, everything that they make is typically it was family oriented, which meant that in general the stories were about heroes, or at least somebody doing something heroic and overcoming challenges and things like that.
Right.
They don't understand morality anymore. They don't understand the morality of the country. They don't understand the morality of families. They don't understand the morality of their audience. And so they're incapable of telling heroic tales that connect with the audience. Like so many of the things that they've made, you watch it and you're like, well, the main character that you're presenting is the hero or the heroine. They're the villain. They're awful. Wish that girl, like, oh, she's so adorable, but she's terrible. Like, she has.
I never saw it. How bad is she?
These writers have a child's mind and a child's idea of morality. So it's like her in that movie. She's like, well, why can't everybody just? The king is bad because he won't give everybody their wish. So I'm going to take over.
But it's also because they're not hiring writers anymore. They're not hiring they're hiring activists, man. They're not hiring writers. You know, like a real writer. You know, there was a time when, you know, at least in Hollywood, and look, don't get me wrong, Hollywood has always been about the money. It's always been about, you know, it's a business like any other, man. But at least they actually cared about story. They don't care about that anymore. You know, it was like a time where they cared about, like, the story mattered and the money mattered, right? Now the messaging matters and the money matters. But here's the thing.
That's who they have working in Hollywood. Those are the people, like you said, they hired activists. And so what is an activist? An activist is a person with an agenda that they're trying to push. The agenda isn't entertainment. You know, the agenda is coming.
It's programming.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You get these guys out of these, these liberal colleges and universities all over the country, and then they flock to Hollywood because that's where their people are. And these cats, they never come outside of that bubble. They never step outside of their Hollywood bubble. They only talk to themselves, and that's who they're making the content for. They're making movies and television shows for themselves. They're
not only that, but they look down on anyone who's not in that bubble.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the big problem. Like, okay, how are you, like, you're basically looking down on your audience, your customers. You know, your customers should be the priority of your, you know, of your job. Yeah, it's like, hey, I want to please my customers. I want to make sure that my customers get what it is that they came to the movies for, or why they're tuning in. I want to make sure that they get what they're looking for. And, you know, I use this other analogy. If you go to a grocery store and you say, okay, I'm here to buy groceries. Let's see, I need some eggs, I need milk, I need bread, I need this, this, and this. And then you walk into a grocery store and all you see is auto parts. It's like, wait, time out. Grocery manager, come here. Where's the groceries? And oh, well, you know, we changed to an auto parts store. Okay, well, now I got to leave and go find groceries. So now you have taken away from what it is your customers came to you for in the first place. Your customers came to you, Hollywood, for entertainment. They didn't come for the message. If you want to get a message, you got TED Talks, you got your church, you can go to church, you get a sermon, you can go to all these other places for messages and agendas. But when you come to Hollywood, I want to be entertained. Yeah, I want to have, and there's definitely the ability to tell, you know, quality, you know, messages and stories, but you got to layer it in the subtext. You can't put it so overtly over the top that people are like, look, I don't want to be lectured. I just want to be entertained. And so now that's why films like Godzilla, Kong, The New Empire are doing so great, because it's just turn your brain off and just go watch dinosaurs and apes fighting each other. It's the silliest story in the whole world. But you know what, man? There's no agenda here going on here. I can trust that this is all I'm going to get. All right, let's get with that. So yeah,
See, I thought you were going to say that I thought you were going to say you go into the grocery store and you're like, I just want some eggs and I want to get some fruits and vegetables. And they're like, well, maybe hold hands with this guy. Just walk around, see how it feels for a little while. Just, you know, hold hands with this guy. Come on, maybe kiss him. I don't know. like, come on, it's just, you know. And you're like, but I came here for eggs.
right. That works.
Yeah,
too.
It's you know, and it's funny because it's not regulated. It's not just, you know, obviously in the film industry, man. It's weird to me, like I said, how a business who operates on money can look at their fan, like have a customer base for years and decide we don't want you anymore. We're going to try to, you know, wrangle new ones while at the same time pushing their real fan base out, right? Because I mean, if you look at things like even look what happened with Bud Light last year, right? Anheuser-Busch with the whole Dylan Mulvaney thing, right? It's like, do you know who drinks your beer? Every person you're pissing off is the ones that drink your beer.
Mm-hmm.
How does that make sense? How does that make any sense?
They hired a woman to come in and say, like, well, I don't like those customers. I don't like those customers you have. I'm gonna get you all the trans customers, because that's such a huge demographic.
And that woman, you know, it's a type of woman they hire at every company now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's always that woman.
And how many times does it have to fail, Dante? How many examples do they need? They've destroyed comic books with this. They've destroyed movies with this. They're destroying video games with this. How many more entertainment? Like, what's left?
I think we're getting to the point where they got to start making some changes now. I think we've crossed that road. I think at this point they got to fix it, or
tabletop gaming, because they've ruined that.
No, what we're going to see is the rise of the indies, man. The indies are going to rise up because all these big studios and all these big companies are going to start failing. They're going to lose too much money, and I'm sorry, but BlackRock can't cover all of them. So,
that's
so
why
they're going to lose a lot of money.
And entertainment options that exist right
indie
now.
Companies are going to rise up. Indie gaming companies, indie film studios, indie comics. Look at Ripa and what he's doing. We're going to see the rise of the indies.
Yeah, but think about it. With all of the competition right now for your entertainment, I mean, it's only 24 hours in a day. There's only so much that I can watch, read, you know, play a video game, consume. There's only so much content that I can get. So, all right, the good ones are going to rise to the top. And if you're if you're in the indie space, you don't want to be a part of Hollywood. You want to get out there and be able to flex and do whatever it is you want to do. Right. The barrier of entry has never been more open than it is right now, where you can, hey, you know what? The technology makes it possible just for us to sit here, like something like this. We couldn't have done this 20 years ago. You know, three of us just chopping it up over a platform and reach a wide audience. There's no way we could have done this. So the technology has made it available for Hollywood to really have to get challenged finally, where, okay, you guys no longer have the stranglehold on, you know, entertainment like maybe you did 20, 30, 40 years ago. Now you got to share this same space with YouTubers, you know, and look, my kids are all in their 20s now, but they all grew up on YouTube. And as much as I tried to get them into movies have just never caught on with their generation. My kids used to go to movies every time. Now I ask them, hey guys, you want to go to a movie? What's playing? No, maybe not. Not next time, Dad. Hey, you guys want to go to a movie? Okay, sure, let's go. But now when they have their own time, they're not little kids anymore. They're all in their 20s and they can do whatever it is that they want to do. They're kind of like, I think I'm just going to hang out at home.
And that's the thing. Young people aren't going to movies anymore.
They've lost that. They've lost this generation. I feel they've lost this particular generation of
the ones that are trying so hard to win.
Right,
is the ones they lost, right?
The ones they pandered to so hard, the Twitter crowd, everything that you see on Twitter and social media, they have tried and they can't get their eyeballs off social media. And they know, hey, if there's a movie I want to see, I'll catch it on streaming in 2 to 3 months. So I think that was their first big mistake, is by pushing everything to streaming, within a couple of months. I think they should have said, we're still going to go to old model where, 6 months to 8 months or whatever. Like I forgot what it was back in the day when we used to rent movies from Blockbuster.
Theaters to physical media to streaming eventually. Like, there should be a gap there, because I would rather go buy, like, I don't want to watch everything on streaming because they can take it away. They can change it. Even if you buy it on digitally, they can take it away at any time. You don't own it. You're just leasing it. All these studios, that they've all made these mistakes. It's like the first little bit of notoriety I got was writing the Darkwing Duck comic book. That would never happen now, because now I'm too controversial. But you know what? I don't need to go work for Disney. I don't need to go work for Marvel. I don't need to go work for DC. These used to be dreams of mine. I wouldn't, like, you couldn't get me to go work at current day Marvel and DC. You couldn't get me to, go back and work on a lot of these things, because the companies whose IP I cared about, the companies that, like Walt's company that I wanted to be a part of, the Stan's Marvel that I wanted to be a part of, they don't exist anymore. Corporatism has killed them. It's changed them into something terrible. And so much like, you mentioned Rippaverse and Eric July going out there and making his own stuff. So many of us are doing that. I'm doing that. I'm doing.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You are doing that.
Yeah, I'm going to be launching that this year. And this is my own IP, my own property. And I could not be more excited about it, because I'm tired of giving good ideas to people who don't appreciate it and who don't compensate you properly. So now we have these platforms, between Kickstarter, Indiegogo, YouTube, all these ways that we can reach people. We can go out there, we can do our own stuff. We can say, hey, I'm sorry the mainstream isn't giving you what you want. I will do it. Let's do it ourselves.
Perfectly said. Perfectly said.
And it's time for independent creators to put it out there, man, because now more than any time ever, people are willing to buy.
Yep.
Because they're craving for something good, man. I got rid of probably 90% of my streaming services, because at one point I think I was on all of them. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think now I'm just down to Amazon Prime, because I use Prime for other things. And I have I got rid of Netflix too, so I'm just down to Amazon Prime now. And you know what? I'm not missing anything. I don't feel like I'm missing one thing by getting rid of all those streaming services, man. Like I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't need Max. I don't need Netflix. I don't need Hulu. I definitely don't need Disney Plus, which I guess that they're the same thing now, apparently. I just don't care anymore.
And there's nothing on them. There's nothing on them worth holding on to them for. They don't have any good content to watch. I mean, Netflix, in my opinion, is probably still, in terms of overall like content availability, there's a lot of stuff, because they just have everything you can possibly, every genre you could possibly want. They have foreign films. I love a lot of foreign films that I find on Netflix. So like, to me, and then they got a lot of anime as well. So they have a lot with Netflix, but these other streaming services, there's really, in my opinion, there's no real reason to hang on to these for a couple of series. I had Apple Plus for a hot second when they had, what was the Godzilla thing? Monarch. Yeah. So yeah. I had it and I watched it, and I was like, I don't need to hold on to this after this, And a lot of people are just getting it for like the 1 month. It's like, okay, there was a bunch of stuff that was on Apple. I'll get it for 1 month. I'll watch everything that's on Apple, and then I'll turn it off. So they spend the month of March watching Apple TV, and then they're done, and then they don't have to hold on to it any longer. So I think that they have completely killed the industry. They don't have a good, ecosystem anymore for Hollywood to, take movies, make money off the movies, then send it, like you said, to physical media, make money off the physical media, and then off it goes to streaming, and then people will watch it on streaming. They've destroyed that by sending things to, VOD so quick that it's like I can just bypass the theaters altogether. And now the theaters are basically going to be out of business. I think these theaters are like struggling right now. I've been covering the box office, and I mean, it's down like April was down 75%, almost 75% from last year.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like,
wow, that's a lot, man.
Yeah, it's insane. It's not sustainable. They can't keep doing this. This is not a sustainable market or a sustainable marketplace for Hollywood.
I'm gonna get to some of these comments right now, real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's see. We got Star Wars Marvel purist. Wow, okay. People have misplaced faith in Dave Filoni, an overrated hack who set off a thought bomb that destroyed countless amounts of EU core. Is that core?
Lore.
I'm sorry, lore. With TCW. Yeah. I look. There was one time where I thought Dave Filoni I thought he would be the saving grace at one point of Disney, and I was horribly wrong.
We all were, because he came in with Favreau. They gave us a competent season of The Mandalorian. It wasn't great by any means, but
no.
After the sequels, we were happy to take it. We were like, okay, this is just good small scale, storytelling. I can kind of get behind this and see where it goes. And it quickly went off the rails. And now, I know some people who worked with Dave Filoni, so I have a little bit of inside information as to about how he actually is, as opposed to the way that he portrays himself. So, not a fan.
Well, he fooled us, right? Like he gave us like good stuff with the Clone Wars. I can't take that away from him.
But he did that under George's supervision.
Correct. Same thing with Rebels. I wasn't a huge fan of Rebels at all, but I know a lot of people like Rebels, and it was a fine cartoon. It wasn't, definitely was not at the caliber of Clone Wars, but it was fine. I actually like Sabine a lot better in that animated show than
absolutely.
than the Ahsoka show.
Well, everybody on that show was better in the animated show than they were in the live action.
That's very true. Because they were all clowns in that Ahsoka show.
But otherwise, all Filoni does is strip mine the far superior expanded universe. He stands on the shoulders of the giants that worked on that and who told good stories in that. He strip mines it, and he just brings in those elements and he makes them far worse. His version of Mandalorian culture is dumber and far less interesting than what Karen Traviss did in the Republic Commando novels and in the books that she wrote. His version of Thrawn is a moron, whereas Timothy Zahn's version of Thrawn is a genius. Like, you read Dave Filoni's idea. Dave Filoni's not smart enough to write a genius character. His idea of a genius character is every time the character does something that doesn't make any sense, just pretend like he's playing 4D chess and just have him go, well, I meant for that to happen. I was like, that's his idea of a smart character. It's like, just hide it in the details. It's like Star Trek science, but not as good. Where it's like, how do we get our characters out of this predicament? Just have them say some science stuff like, we'll reconfigure the deflector array. It'll emit a tachyon pulse, and that'll free us from the thingamabob. Like, you just do that, but like a much dumber version of that. Because you can't hide stupidity in bad writing.
You can't write. That's an old adage in writing. You cannot write characters smarter than yourself. He can't write a character that's smarter than him. And Thrawn is clearly a character smarter than Filoni. So of course he can't write him. Of course, he's only can Thrawn in, oh my God, Ahsoka's Thrawn. I was digging my fingers into my couch cushions like, I can't believe the decisions that they made with this character. This is an abomination.
I could easily.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess I could, but I could, but I couldn't at the same time. Like, this is absolutely ridiculous. So, I mean, yeah, it's crazy, man. Filoni is a hack, unfortunately, and he's also, dyed in the wolves. Feminist right there next to Kathleen Kennedy. He seems to believe just as she believes. There's no difference between the two of them. That's why he gets elevated up to, what is he now? The creative chief or something like that.
Oh, Dave Filoni is definitely a company man. Like he's going to toe the line of Kathleen Kennedy for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Whatever Kathleen says.
Of course he's going to toe the line at the company, because he toes the line at home. We've all seen his witchcraft wife that he's married to. And it's like, no wonder there's witches on Ahsoka now. No wonder he's trying to turn it into Lord of the Rings. Like,
that was so.
I understand the Witches of Dathomir. I do, and I liked them in the Clone Wars. But
They
again,
were better in the Clone Wars, yes.
all filtered
much
through
better.
George. You had to filter everything through George. And while the prequels weren't great because George was sitting there going, didn't want to direct, and I'm sitting here and I'm miserable because I don't like doing this, but everybody told me I should do it and nobody would do it for me. You cannot deny the fact that he could look at things and say, this doesn't work, this does work, this doesn't work, this does work, in at least with other people's work, because he wasn't as close to it. I have a friend who was an artist at Lucasfilm for a while. He was working on a show that never went to, like when Disney took over, they shit canned it. But he was doing designs for that. And he said George would come in, like it was once every week or once every 2 weeks, and sit with each artist for about 5 minutes and look over the stuff that they were designing. And he goes, George can't draw. He goes, but he would just get out a pen and with a couple of quick lines, he could say, add this here and take this out, get rid of that and give it a fin. And he would do like these little doodles just to kind of show you like in general what you wanted. And my friend said he would look at those things and he'd be like, well, damn, that's the right call. I don't know how I didn't see that. Yeah, it looks much better. Once I do this, it'll look great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because that's just
his
kind
talent.
of
That was his skill. I think that I always seen that as George Lucas's skill. I've never, like, even with his storytelling, like his scripts, you have George Lucas write the script. No, sir. You have him, here's the story, and you give that to like Lawrence Kasdan. Okay, now we can get something good coming out of the other side of this, Mm-hmm. So yeah, he wrote Indiana Jones. He wrote all the story wise, not the screenplays, but he wrote the overall story. And I thought that was his strength. He's a good storyteller, and he's good at, like you just said, like kind of shaping things, his ideas, whatever's living in his head. He just can't put it down on paper and he can't like draw it and create it. He needs people to do that for him. But,
right.
On the other side of it, it looks great. So I thought that, okay, that's his strength. They should have just like double down on that. Hey, George, we're not going to let you write or direct anything, but just give us the right ideas. Let's get you with good filmmakers and screenwriters and let's put this thing together. That's the problem I had with the sequels, is that the prequels, I should say, that the prequels just didn't come off as well as they could have came off, just because of, George Lucas had his hands on too many things at the same time.
I've always wanted to rewrite the prequels in comic book form, keep them as close to George Lucas's version as possible, and just tweak the things that I think need to be tweaked to show that there are good ideas there. There is a good story there. It's just the direction is bad. The dialogue is really bad. He can't write dialogue. Even Carrie Fisher said back on the original movie, they were like, nobody can deliver dialogue like this. You think about Anakin, from my point of view, the Jedi are evil. And you're like, oh, come on.
Right.
No. Or,
really quickly, Donna Hergenrether.
What's up, Donna?
That's a name, boy. Hergenrether. Jesus.
Hergenrether.
Okay. I love Mando first 2 seasons. Yeah. The first 2 seasons were fine. And then they went off the rails.
I thought
the first season was good. I thought the second season was hit and miss. Most of the middle of that was bad. I think until you get to the very end, then things started to get more interesting. But yeah, I liked the first couple of seasons overall. I thought it was fine. I didn't think Star Wars was in any, dire Well, I did think it was in bad shape, but I thought they maybe had been turning the corner. It's like, okay, they figured some things out. Jon Favreau kind of has his pulse on what people are looking for, especially with that last episode when they brought back Luke. And, okay, it seemed like and then they came out with Book of Boba Fett. And like, all right, never mind.
Yeah.
I once was Mikey in the chat is reminding me of something. He said the Witches of Dathomir were originally from the expanded universe. That's right. They were Courtship of Princess Leia, right? When they go to Dathomir and they're riding the Rancors and stuff like that. So, okay, so even that strip mined from the expanded universe.
Yep.
Yeah,
Filoni
I mean, it still proves what you said to be true.
Mm-hmm.
No, Filoni is a hack. I mean, by all means, he's a hack.
But you know what? I think he's fine in animation.
Under the right supervision.
Under the right supervision, I think, okay, let him play around. I don't want him touching live action because to me, that's where Star Wars lives and breathes. If you want to go deep into the weeds, and I'll definitely go deep into the weeds, but Star Wars is going to be, if it's ever going to be fixed or saved, it's going to be on the big screen. And so that's what makes me nervous about Dave Filoni having anything to do with the big screen adaptation of anything or any kind of story on the big screen. He is not a storyteller of that caliber. He needs
we'll be lucky if any of that
animation.
They'll be lucky to even get any of that in the theaters, honestly.
You don't think so? Mando and Grogu, you don't think it's coming out?
Right now, I'm like 60-40. I think that everything is falling apart.
You know, and I'll tell you why though, because I think the heat is just off of it now, man. People are done. Like Grogu, no one cares anymore. The best thing they could have did was keep Grogu out of season 3, and what did they do? Brought him back in Book of Boba Fett. Right?
Yeah, and then Luke doesn't even bring him. Luke just sticks him in an X-wing and sends him to Tatooine.
Doesn't even give a
guarantee.
fuck.
No guarantee that kid is gonna he's gonna be able to hook up and find the Mandalorian.
Just good luck, kid.
So unbelievably stupid. Everything about Disney Star Wars is so unbelievably stupid and poorly written and poorly conceived, and it's just trash. Like I could go through like just moment by moment and tell you why none of the things that they're doing work. Why Ahsoka doesn't work. Why Book of Boba Fett definitely didn't work. Knows what they're doing.
John Snowden said, "Did they bury Mando season 3?" No, I mean it's still there, but it's just I think I don't know if there will be a season 4. I don't know.
Yeah, I doubt it. I doubt it. Yeah. I mean, at this point,
what are they gonna do? They're gonna make it about Bo-Katan? Who cares?
Yeah,
that's
what Mando season 3 was. It was
that's basically season 3 right there.
Yeah. So I mean, at this point, I think the only thing they can do is fire everybody. Fire the entire staff at Lucasfilm, all the way from Kathleen Kennedy all the way down, and one by one, let everybody reapply for their jobs and see who you're going to keep. Some people you maybe, all right, you're good. You can go ahead and stay along. But some people, I mean, they'll probably only keep maybe 5% of whoever's over there at Lucasfilm, and then start bringing in people that actually care about this franchise, care about Star Wars, want to see Star Wars back on top. And I don't think it'll happen. That's the only thing that will save the franchise at this point. And I just don't think that Bob Iger or anybody at Disney has the guts to do it.
So I don't know how long I have you guys for. So I want to kind of get to this next topic real quick. Just to be sensitive about time.
We could shit on Star Wars all night.
Wait. We'll still be shitting on Disney right now because we're hopping into the X-Men, right? The other side of Disney. So yeah, there's been news that there's been some casting choices being made for the new X-Men movie. And I don't know. I just want to get you guys' opinion about it. Let me pull this up real quick.
Don't you usually have an idea what you're going to do for a movie before you start casting it?
You would think, right? So Keke Palmer and Giancarlo Esposito are up for two roles in X-Men. We don't know what those are yet.
I'm going to guess Keke Palmer is up for either Rogue or Siren.
So
I say Siren not because she's a big character.
Oh no, because she's a redhead. I get it.
Yeah.
No, I get it. And that's pretty funny. But no, look, they're up for roles. They won't say for who yet, right? It's rumored that Keke Palmer, Rogue, casting for sure, and then Giancarlo for Professor X. Now sources are saying that none of that is true. That they're not being cast for either of those, but they are being cast in the new X-Men film. So. What are the chances they're going to race swap Rogue?
100%. I think it's going to happen. Absolutely. I don't think there's any way.
I'll give it a 90%.
Oh, okay. Very generous.
I think it's pretty high up there, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I think there's 10%. I think 10% of fear has set in.
I don't know, man.
They can't afford X-Men to fail.
I feel like you're giving them too much of the benefit of the doubt here. I think they're beyond stupid enough to do it.
You're right.
Well, you know what? Let me adjust because they did. I thought they were going to race swap a member of the Fantastic Four. I don't know. Pedro Pascal counts. People say he doesn't count. He counts. Okay, cool. Then yeah, all right. Because everybody was saying, well, he's technically Caucasian, white, Latino, and all right, whatever. But I thought that they were going to, race swap other characters, and he didn't. So maybe, but I can't see Keke as Storm. I don't see her being.
I mean, I know I'm not super familiar with her acting, but I think looks wise, I think she could pull off Storm.
Maybe. I think she's a lovely actress. Very attractive. I've been lucky enough to have several conversations with her at different events. Gorgeous girl. And I just hate the idea that instead of giving her something better to work with, that they're just going to race swap her out for a character that everyone loves, which means everyone's going to hate Kiki for playing her.
Yeah, they're going to use her as a shield. They're going to use
She's
her
going
as
to be the shield.
And that's what they do. They do these race swaps so that they can, they know that they're going to get criticism for something. But man, if they can say that it's because of racism, because that's worked out so well, let's keep doing that. Calling your fans racist has really resulted in people not buying into what the fans are saying and just making these movies huge successes, right? No, everything about your playbook is wrong. Just do it right the first time. The X-Men is already so diverse. You can check a bunch of boxes.
You can. Yeah. And there's so many characters that look, I don't agree with race swapping. I think it's stupid, and I think it's insulting to black people when they do it. It's like there's plenty of black characters, or create some, right? But let's not just give us sloppy seconds here. That's just my own thing.
You don't want our white hand-me-downs, Dante?
No, I do not. I want prominent black characters to stand on their own, right?
Thank you.
And
and real quick, they did it with Agent Coulson. And I use that example all the time. They created a character. He didn't exist before. They created a character. And look what happened with that character. He gets his own TV series. He becomes beloved by the Marvel fandom. Everywhere Clark Gregg goes, oh my God, it's Agent Coulson. And they love him for it. So why can't you just do that? And, and I was reading an article when he was doing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He actually got to participate in the discussions on, well, where do you see your character going this season? They actually respected Clark Gregg to the point where he was invited to come down and discuss the character and discuss, hey, this is what we can do with this character. This is what we can do with them this season. And I'm like, you gave Clark Gregg that respect. Give that to Giancarlo Esposito. You want to work with Giancarlo Esposito? Is that important to work with him? Give him a unique character. Develop something like you did for Clark Gregg. Now, I know Agent Coulson's probably an accident, but nevertheless, they did it. They did it and it worked. So you've proven that we can create original characters that will take off and become popular and, end up with his own television series and beloved the world over. If you have really good writers, you can do it. But that's the problem. They don't really have good writers.
But I mean,
I'll tell you a quick Clark Gregg story. Just go ahead, Dante. But
no, go ahead.
Okay. So when they were when I saw the first Iron Man movie, I was like, I like that Coulson guy. I was like, he was kind of fun just in the little bits that he had. And then when he came back for 2, I was like, oh, cool. They're still using that actor. They're still using that character. I was at San Diego Comic-Con when they did the big Avengers movie announcement and they brought everybody out onto stage. And I was actually in the press pit. And so I'm standing there and I'm looking up and they're doing I think it was the Thor presentation that was second. My friend Marie's standing next to me. And I looked to the side and Robert Downey Jr. all of a sudden is standing right next to me watching the panel. And I just I turned back and I bumped Marie and she smacked at me stop it, I'm watching Thor, she's smacked at me. And I was like, look at who's standing next to me. And she turned and we both turned and looked at him and he made eye contact and he goes, how you guys doing? It was really cool. And so I was like funny that you're here. I feel like they might be announcing something, huh? And he goes, you never know. And then the panel ends and Feige gets up and says, we got something else for a few more minutes. And he walks backstage, right? He goes backstage. When they bring everybody out on stage and they do the big announcement, and then as they're leaving, they're all walking past us down the stairs. And every one of the Avengers is there, every one of the celebrities. And I actually went, you rule, Coulson, to Clark Gregg. And he had this look of surprise on his face. Out of everybody, somebody singled him out. He was just like, oh, thank you. Thank you. It was a really cool moment.
Nice. Yeah, I missed the magic of Comic-Con, man.
Yeah, it's gone too. Yeah. Isn't it weird that we've lived long enough to have nothing to look forward to?
I know.
It used to be they'd be like, hey, do you like that thing? And you'd be like, yeah, I like that thing. And they'd be like, it's going to get a movie. And you'd be like, really? What are they going to do with it? Now they're like, do you like that thing? And you're like, I love that thing. And they go, it's going to get a movie. And you go, oh God, no, please. Please no.
I was actually I was going to say that I think that the I just feel like the X-Men universe is so big, right? It's so big that even if they decide to race swap for other characters that aren't in the mainstream, that are just random characters, I could even go with that. It's like, but to me, it's like when you're talking about the core group, let's not do the race swapping thing, man. Let's keep it pretty accurate. People wouldn't like it if Storm got race swapped, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's just keep it a buck and like keep the characters the way they are in the comics instead of trying to change them, man. But again, we're talking.
For me, it goes both ways. I was pissed off in the Spawn movie when Terry Fitzgerald got cast as a white guy.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I was like, no, Terry's his best friend. Terry's black. Like, he should be black. But, and at the time, of course, it was like, well, we didn't want audiences to perceive it as a black movie. And it was like, all right, whatever. I think they perceive it as a superhero movie because it's mostly
well, what's funny is like that was an actual fear back then for studios, right?
Yeah,
like they didn't want their film to be seen as a black movie. You know what I mean?
Yep. And that stupid fear like permeated, and now it's switched the other way. Pale and
yeah. Now white guys can't get hired.
Yeah, too funny.
It's just so stupid and ridiculous. But Giancarlo, I feel like he could play anything and kill it, right? And if they did make him Professor X, I'm not saying he would do a bad job. I just would be disappointed that he's better than that. He doesn't need to play a race swap character.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at this point, I think it's going to be up to I don't think Hollywood's going to slow down race swaps. It's going to be up to the individual actors to say, hey, can you cast me as a black guy or whatever. They're going to have to reject some of these roles. But I don't think they'll do that either. I think they'll just take, oh, okay, it's worked. Great. I get to play Professor X. That sounds great, because they believe in it. But I don't know why these actors would want to be insulted like that. And basically like, oh yeah, you're going to play, James McAvoy played this character. And, why am I drawing a blank on his name?
That's because they
yeah, thank you. Yeah. We're going to give this to you now. And it's like, this character's already been played and it seems like you're just doing this for the agenda. I'm not really with that. I'm waiting for an actor to say, no, I'm not going to play this race swapped character. I'm going to give me my own character, cast me appropriately, give me my own character, whatever, but I'm not playing a race swap.
Well, it's like I'm
waiting for that.
It's like the whole Winston Duke thing, right? That came out last week about him wanting to play Batman. Yeah. It's like, come on, man. Can we not do this to, especially the characters like Batman, Superman, Spider? Like we know like who these characters are, right? Like we really don't need a race swap version of any of those characters, and we don't need a race swap Rogue, to be honest with you, or Professor X. So again, they're just rumors. They said that that they're supposed to play other characters. Who knows what that means? But I get the sneaking feeling that, knowing what I know of Disney, there's some fuckery involved, and they are going to cast them as those characters.
I have a feeling they're going to do Stryker.
Failure, man. Let it all burn. Let them burn their franchises to the ground, and from the ashes of their world, we'll build a better one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Really quick, we have a comment from the chat, and Bill S. Preston says Esposito is awesome. Professor X doesn't really change if he's black. I'm okay with it. I mean, that's a take.
Mm-hmm.
That's a take. I agree. I think Esposito is great, right? And no matter what you give him, he's going to kill it. I don't know if it's going to help him though, help his career. I don't know. I
just hope he gets to play a good guy.
I just hope he gets to play a good character and a good guy.
A guy who's not evil. Yeah, a guy who's not evil.
Yeah,
I think he's going to play Stryker. That's who I think. I think they're going to go with Stryker. That's my prediction. I don't think he'll be.
They're going to do Man Like God Loves, Man Kills, like a more true version of it, or you think
maybe, yeah. Because why would you? Go ahead.
That's probably a safe story to go with for your first X-Men movie.
Yeah.
If you put Sunspot in there, he could be Sunspot's dad, who's a pretty evil character.
Yeah.
You never really played him up enough in the comics.
But that's a deep pull, though.
Yeah, I mean, he could be. Again, it'd be race swapping, but I could see him as like a Sebastian Shaw, leader of the Hellfire Club.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to figure out where they'd put him. If he's not Professor X, who is he?
No, I agree. Michael Drew, Kiki is so fine though. Storm, I don't know, but she's just so fine. She is. She's a very attractive woman. I think she'd be a great Storm, actually.
Yeah.
I think she. In fact, that should be the role.
That's a leadership role too. That's actually a bigger
Yeah,
role.
it's a
in
big
the team
role.
than
It's
Rogue.
definitely a big role.
I mean,
I just don't see her as
if we're being honest, she kind of looks like Angela Bassett, like a young Angela.
I would have loved as Storm back in the day if they'd made the X-Men in the 90s, like Angela Bassett, or Iman were always my two choices.
Or Iman, yeah.
Ooh,
but I think
would've
she
been
has the
dope,
look.
actually.
I think she could pull off the Storm.
Iman would have been nice.
Yeah, who knows? And maybe that is the pick. Maybe she is Storm. Who knows? She's old enough now. She's in her 30s. She's definitely more womanly now that she had her baby. She has curves for days now. So I don't know. Seeing that black outfit, that Storm outfit, that little bikini thing.
You're going.
I'm
classic.
down.
I think I'm okay with this.
You're going Dave Cockroom costume, huh?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely, man. I think I'm okay with this. And this person, hold on. There we go. That just caught my eye. What do you guys think of X-Men 97? Love it. I'm not gonna lie. I really like it. It's not perfect. But I'm not gonna lie. What they're doing is something I didn't think they'd have the balls to do. And that's why I'm loving this show right now. I feel like they've kind of broken every fear I had when the show was announced. Even more for who I thought I would hate pre the show is one of my favorite characters in the show now. I think they did a great job with Morph in this new X-Men show. So I don't know. I think it's good. It's the one good thing Disney has going for them.
I have not seen it. I'm actually I'm waiting until I don't have Disney Plus right now. We do have one of our subs on Thinking Critical that is going to pay for Wes and I to both have Disney Plus. He's basically like making a donation to the channel to force us to watch The Acolyte. So I'm waiting until that happens so that I can. But like the one good that'll come out of it is that I can just binge X-Men 97. But I'm gonna have to suffer through The Acolyte to do it.
But you know what though?
Anything for the viewers, man.
I'm going to say this very loosely. It's worth it. It's worth going through the Acolyte to get to X-Men 97 because it's they're doing episodes on books I didn't think they'd even touch. Like Inferno, I didn't think they even touched that storyline, and sure enough, they do it.
Okay.
Did
So
they bring in the Demons of Limbo? Did they have Sim and Nash too?
Yeah, they're doing some deep pulls, man. Madeline Pryor, the whole deal. I'm like, okay,
damn, I love.
Yeah, no, I look, I'm as much as I hate Disney, I got to give the devil his due, and they're doing it right for me.
Every once in a while,
broken clock, right?
Yep.
So, who knows, man?
I haven't watched it. I haven't watched it either. I kind of wait for everything to drop. Is it complete? How many episodes is it?
There's two more, and then the season's done.
Okay. Yeah, I usually just wait for everything to drop and then just binge it one day and I'm done with it.
So there's one episode this week and then one next week is the last for the season. So after next week, they're all there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So is this a case? Is this a case where Bo DeMeo got fired because he was just too good? Disney saw the show and was like, "We can't have this."
You know what? I'm actually starting to think that now. Yeah. Like, I'm starting to think that the showrunner for all his side drama, I think he was just too good of it. Like he was a fan because you don't write this stuff and not be a fan, dude.
Yeah, he said that. If you're not a fan, don't bother applying to be on my team.
He was also
I think they got rid of him
for
that reason.
Wasn't he one of the writers on The Witcher as well?
Yes, when he saw what happens when you have a room full of people who hate the property.
Yeah, and him and Henry Cavill was kind of battling it out with those guys, and then he ended up getting fired. So yeah, I think this guy probably, regardless of, and that's what we care about, right? I don't care what his lifestyle is.
I don't care either, man.
Just I care about the stories. As long as you telling me to giving us the goods, I'm down with it. Yeah, bring him on. Hey, send him to DC so he can help James Gunn make sure that thing don't go off the rails. Because that's what I'm really concerned about. I'm more concerned right now with DC.
And James Gunn apparently loves Tom King, and Tom King is the worst person to have handling any superhero character at all.
I'm so nervous about that.
They are abysmal.
And I got Drew Goddard is over there, which gives me a slight bit of hope because I do like Drew Goddard and I think he's quality. But yeah, I'm nervous as hell with that Tom King. And then what's the lady that wrote Birds of Prey? I think is also.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man, we just gotta
yeah, I
I'm
can't
like,
remember her name,
James, what are you doing?
Yeah, no, she's terrible.
Yeah. So yeah, I want him to get Bo DeMayo in there. All right, Bo DeMayo's a free agent. Go pick him up, man, because this guy seems to actually care about lore and care about good writing. So yeah, bring him in.
You know what though? When it comes to DC right now, I'm just kind of like hands in the air. I'm like, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll just see how it goes because I trust Gunn, but I don't know.
Gunn's always
he hasn't let me down yet, but I guess there's always the first time.
There's always the first, man, and it's like.
He let me down with Guardians 2. I wasn't a big fan of Guardians.
You know what's
2.
weird?
Really?
I loved Guardians 2.
I do too.
Okay.
I actually.
I don't know why. I have a weird. You know what? And you know why I think I love it so much? Because he did something I didn't think he would do, and that was bring in the original Guardians, Stakar and all those guys. Because I used to collect that. I was the only person I knew growing up who collected Guardians of the Galaxy, man, in the 80s. Okay,
wow.
I'm not talking about the new team with Star-Lord. I mean, pre-Star-Lord.
Martin X, Charlie 27,
yes,
Mickey.
Oh my God, that was and so when he brought that team out, I was like, oh, he gets it.
Yeah,
I'm like, this guy.
I like him for the most part. I think, like I said, he's not. I like his original content. His original films, Slither and Super. I like that. I like his
great films. Yeah.
I like Guardians 1. I like Guardians 3. Since Guardians 2 was just like it didn't fit for me, But I recognize it's better than like all of the stuff that Marvel has done past phase.
He
3.
gave us Ego the Living Planet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a deep pool, man.
Yeah.
Also, you know what worked about it for me, and this is personal because like there's movies that people love. Like I don't like Toy Story 3, and I can give you very personal reasons why I don't. But I understand why people love it. And I understand maybe why Guardians didn't connect with you. For me, I'm a sucker for a good father and son kind of story. And that ending with Yondu from Yondu sacrificing himself and then the funeral, like that hit me. I'm also a sucker for like a dad-daughter story. Like, so anything like that, like, that gets me right here. So that's what really resonated with me with Guardians 2. And plus I kind of like the way that they split the Guardians up, the way they set the reveal, for what Ego was really up to.
Yeah.
Even something that I would normally think was really dumb, like Ego just blurting out that he put the tumor in Star-Lord's mother's head. Normally I would think that was stupid, but the way it was played by Kurt Russell so earnestly, like he's just like, yeah, because he just thought he had Star-Lord on his side at that point. We were playing catch. This boy is with me, man.
But also like he's a god. So it's kind of like
so above the idea of
like who cares if I killed your mom, right? I'm a god, So it worked in that way.
Yeah, and you've got the great, and I love the line where he says, you'll just be like everybody else. And Star-Lord going, what's so wrong with that? Like, I just love that. That's the kind of stuff that gets me.
Yeah, I have a fondness for Guardians 2. But I get a lot of people didn't like it. Like I do get that.
Yeah, they didn't like it as much as the first one. I understand. And part of it might be that they split the Guardians up. For most of the movie is because you want to see the characters interact. So I understand that too.
All right, so just moving it along. I definitely wanted to just get a quick talk about this next topic, just because it's out there, and that is Jerry Seinfeld, man. He made a comment recently in an interview that comedy is dead in this woke age. So what do you guys think about that?
It's tough. I mean, I don't think it's dead, but I think that it's definitely tough. Like, he all these old school guys, and Jerry doesn't even really have like an offensive act. He
doesn't.
Pretty generally, general audience kind of act. But he's right. Like, it's just a minefield of like things that you have to worry that at least for the last several years, you've had to worry about with, before Elon Musk bought Twitter, you had to worry about getting canceled all the time, that there would just be a mob who would go after anybody who was working with you and make them afraid to to touch you, and you'd lose gigs, and you'd lose you lose dates at shows and things like that because 12 lunatics on Twitter with a bunch of sock puppet accounts would start screaming about you. So yeah, it's a minefield, man.
I think I hear what he's saying, and I do agree with them. But I also believe that comedians kind of have to be fearless and not worry about it. They just got to go out and just do what it is that they do and not apologize, because that's part of who they are. Dave Chappelle did that. He said, all right, well, you guys are going to try to cancel me. You can't really cancel talent. If you're good at what you do, you really can't cancel it. There's always going to be an audience for that, no matter how much they try to cancel you. So in my opinion, I think, the comedians, and I'm not saying that they're not, I think that they have to just say, you know what, I'm just doing it. And, to hell with what everybody else is saying or thinking. I'm just going to go out there and just be myself, do what got me to this position in the first place. I'm going to be risky. I'm going to say a lot of things that a lot of people are going to disagree with and they're not going to like. Hey, too bad, But I think like Dave Chappelle kind of proved that if you're good, and you're going to continue to make money. Netflix completely told all of their little woke activists inside their company, hey, kick rocks. Dave's not going anywhere. And if you guys got a problem with us promoting the Dave Chappelle comedy skit, you can leave. You can leave. And I think that's the power of talent, and the fact that you really just can't cancel talent. Look at J.K. Rowling. They've been trying to cancel J.K. Rowling, and she Harry Potter still makes money. So that's, you just got to do what you do.
She is in lockstep with them, with the people that are trying to cancel her. She's in lockstep with them. 98% of what they believe. One thing. And she's like, and she's a heretic. That shows you how insane these people are.
It's ridiculous. But okay, I just think
but to add to what you said, DA, the thing about that though is Dave Chappelle has fuck you money. You know what I mean? Like Dave Chappelle can say, go to hell because you can't cancel me, right? Not every comedian can do that right now. There's a lot of struggling up and comers, man, that they're being handicapped because they gotta watch everything they say. They gotta not be offensive. They gotta worry about comedy clubs not booking them for whatever reason. And it's I get what he's saying. I mean, but he's talking about TV and film, right? And what Dave Chappelle does is stand up, right? But if we're talking about a studio, right, doing an R-rated comedy, good luck. You're not going to see a lot of R-rated comedies in the theater anymore,
Yeah. I mean, I don't have FU money and I tweet like I do. So I don't know if I'm just dumb or
well, no, I mean, because we're talking like, the film industry, man. And when it comes to that, it's like, yeah, there's still some landmines out there. You know what I mean? Because the thing is, people love to bring up, South Park. Or what about South Park? They're doing R-rated comedy. Or what about It's Always Sunny, right? They're doing R-rated comedy. Yeah, those are grandfathered in.
Yep.
Right? Those shows have been around forever, so they are already there, right? We're talking new shows, new movies. You're not going to see it happen, and that's what Jerry was talking about.
Okay.
You're not going to see anything new.
I thought he was talking about stand-up, so he's not talking about stand-up.
No, he's talking about movies. He's talking about the movie theaters. You're not going to see R-rated movies.
They canceled Apu, man, on The Simpsons. Like they canceled him. Like that's how ridiculous it got. It's like Apu is one of the best portrayed characters on that show. He's portrayed as hardworking. He's portrayed as a family man. Yeah, they had an episode where he was thinking about cheating on his wife, but he didn't.
But he didn't.
They've told some really compelling stories with that character, and just because he's voiced by Hank Azaria, like it had to be burned to the ground. Well, congratulations. Now you took away some of the representation that you wanted in TV. Yeah, it wasn't an Indian actor playing him, but so what?
Yeah, no, I thought that was ridiculous. But again, it just kind of just shows where it all is right now, right? I think, like, I'm trying to remember, what was the last R-rated comedy I saw in the theater?
Man, it's been a while.
It's been a while, right? Like, I'm trying to think. Like, what was the last R-rated movie that I saw in the theater?
The last R-rated comedy?
Yeah. R-rated comedy. I can't think of
Did you go see Cock Blockers in the theater?
Oh, no. I saw that on Prime.
Okay. I think everybody else did too.
Was that R-rated or PG-13? I don't remember.
I think that was definitely R-rated.
Okay. That was one with John Cena, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was called Blockers. Oh no, it was Cock Blockers, right?
Well, they put the rooster logo in front of it. It was just called
Oh,
Blockers.
right.
Yeah, but like
Okay.
they put the rooster
So,
up there,
yeah.
so you were like, yeah.
That was pretty funny, actually.
Yeah, you're right.
I guess
can't think of
that
a
Jennifer
single one.
Lawrence one. Someone in the chat said that.
The Jennifer Lawrence movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that went out to theaters.
Okay, so that's the last one I saw in the theater.
Yeah, I haven't seen any. I'm looking
Was that,
right now.
Was
I don't
that
think I've
pushing the
seen any of
envelope
these.
though? Like, did that have any transgressive humor in it, or was it just?
Well, she was naked, so I mean, it was definitely R.
But I mean,
and,
did they push the boundary as far as like what the kind of jokes that they told, or what the people that they?
It was just like you know what, I consider it like it was like a dramedy. It wasn't like a super comedy. Like I thought it'd be more of a raunchy comedy, but there was more heart stuff in there and just other. I don't know. It was a good movie.
Okay, does Renfield count?
Yeah,
Or is
I mean,
that-
it's a comedy.
All right, so that's the last one I saw in theaters.
Was that R-rated?
So that was out last year.
That was R-rated. Yeah, just for the gore alone, it would have been R-rated.
Yeah. No,
That's
you're
the
right.
last
You're
one
right.
I saw. Yeah,
but
I mean,
again,
I had to think about it.
Not a movie that pushed the envelope as far as comedy. I mean, I'm gonna do it with Neil before Doomface. There's definitely some jokes in there that if you're super PC, you will not like. But that's too bad. If you don't. You don't have
John
to
Snowden mentioned Joyride. Actually, yeah, that movie was outrageous. That movie was crazy. That I saw that in the theater twice. Actually, Joyride is good.
Did it push?
It pushed everything. It pushed everything, man. Like I highly recommend seeing it if you haven't seen it. It's about these 4 Chinese girls. Well, one isn't, but you find out later. But these 4 girls who go on this road trip to China, and it's an American movie. Like it's all in English, but it's raunchy, dude. Like it's hilarious.
Okay. All right.
It's on.
Okay, so then is Seinfeld wrong? We got like some names here. Is he wrong?
I mean, we got a few, but I get what he's saying. It's getting harder and harder to get those movies made, and like he's not saying like there's none. He's just saying that it's dying though. It's getting harder and harder to get R-rated movies, comedies. I'm sorry, R-rated comedies. I got to make that distinction. Comedies.
Well, that's always the thing, isn't it? It's like people always take it. You make a statement like that where you're making a generalized statement. You're just like saying in general, this is difficult. And then there's always the people that come and go like, well, here's 3 examples in the last 15 years. So you're wrong. And it's like, no, we're talking. It's like when we say the comics industry is dying. They're like, manga's doing great. And it's like, when we say the comics industry, we are specifically talking about the Western comic book industry.
We're talking about American comics. Yes.
Yes. If we meant manga, we would have said manga.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what though? That says something though. That says a lot about the fact that manga and anime is killing American animation.
Mm-hmm.
Like it says a lot, man. Like I remember a time where you couldn't get me to watch anime, and now there's like 3 or 4 that I just really love, man. And
I watch it more than anything now.
Yeah, it's crazy
you got
how
My Hero right back there behind you. I see all
of this stuff, man. Hunter, man. To me, it's they do what Hollywood used to do, which is tell original stories. They may all have like a similar style to them, but the characters are all different. The characters are all mostly different. There's some derivatives, obviously, but they tell original stories and they don't try to go deviating from what the manga was. Like if it's an adaptation from the manga going to the anime, they don't try to change it. They give you exactly what was in the anime or the manga, and they move that right along to the anime. And there's some slight changes, obviously, but that's what I enjoy about it. And I think that's what most people like.
They don't Netflix it like with Cowboy Bebop and Netflix.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, again, that's just people that don't understand. Again, Hollywood just doesn't understand the stuff that they're trying to adapt. They don't understand what makes it good. So you get Cowboy Bebop out of that. I
remember like you can't do a real version of Fade Valentine's outfit. And I'm like, oh, like here's 8 cosplayers I can show you that have done it.
Well, they could do it. They just didn't want to do it, right? They didn't want to show. Yeah, they just didn't want to do it. So that's the problem is. They're playing fast and loose with, franchises that they didn't create, they didn't build. They just saw something that was popular, they grabbed it, and then they just try to go to the next level with it, and they don't understand it, so they mess it up. You know,
It's the Ian Malcolm thing, right, from Jurassic Park. Before you even knew what you had, you slapped a label on it and you put it on a lunchbox, and
Yep.
now you're selling it. You're selling it.
now
It's
you're
like, yeah,
selling
that's
it. You're
exactly-
selling it. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly what Hollywood is.
Yep,
All right,
that's exactly
I'm gonna
it.
read another comment. Setbacks says it was one of those typical almost rom-com, but the third act gets all serious. Yeah, he's talking about the Jennifer Lawrence movie.
Okay.
And yeah, that's the problem I had with it, is that it was a comedy like all the way up to the third act, and then it just became like a drama.
Yep.
So, and I hate when comedies do that. Actually, here's another comment real quick. This
Tropic
is
Thunder.
from oh man, you guys in these names, boy. Otio, audio. I don't know. Sorry, man. Anyway. Tropic Thunder needs a sequel. I agree. I would love to see a sequel.
love that they will not apologize for that. They can't make Ben Stiller apologize. They can't make Robert Downey Jr.
No, and they should not. They should not
Absolutely.
apologize.
Stick to your guns. Oh, by the way, Oteo, I don't know if it came up in the chat, but I saw that you said that you love Darkwing Duck. Send me a DM on Twitter or message me on Twitter, and I will send you some of my Darkwing Duck comics.
Nice.
All right, we got another comment from Otio again. Otio, dude, you got to let me know how to pronounce that. Chappelle's show is legendary. What did the 5 fingers say to the face? Slap.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Cold-blooded. Love it. I love Chappelle, man. I think he's the GOAT.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like he's one of those guys. Like, you got certain guys that when comedians all love the comedian, like a Dave Chappelle, a Norm Macdonald, there's something special about him.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Oh, Norm was a legend, man. Legend.
We were joking when OJ died that we said that it'd be great if OJ's hell was just having to sit in a theater for all eternity watching Norm roast him like just over and over again. He said, and then he turns, and at the end of the aisle, Norm Macdonald's sitting there with a big bucket of popcorn and big soda, slurping on a big soda, just watching him with a big smile on his face. And OJ's like, "Wait a minute, this is hell. What are you doing here?" And Norm's like, "Oh no, you don't get it. This is my heaven."
All right. So we're going to switch it over to our last topic, which is basically to gaming. So we're doing just a little bit of a pivot, but still on the same lines of what we've been talking about. So
because whose game is it?
And we're going to be talking about HellDivers 2 and the whole controversy that happened last week, man. Last week was nuts as far as news goes.
Yeah.
There was a lot of crazy shit that happened.
It was rough to keep up with it too, man. It was a lot going on, like almost daily.
Yeah, it was wild. And I guess apparently, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong on what happened here, is so I guess when you sign up for HellDivers, and what's funny is I have this game on my PS5 right now. I haven't had a chance to play it yet because I'm busy as hell, but I've been wanting to play it for so long, and I was excited to play it until all this craziness happened. But I guess what happened was PC gamers who bought the game didn't. Okay, so I need to say this right, because there's a clause in the game that you have to sign up for the PSN network, right? Like
Right.
it's stated in the game when you sign up to get it. What happened was, though, when PC gamers bought the game, that clause wasn't there at the time because the developer, because they were trying to keep the game running, and there were so many people who were signed up that they took that clause out of the game, or not took it out, but paused it, right? So it wasn't something you had to do. So you had all these PC players who signed up for who bought the game, who were able just to jump into the game, play it, didn't have to sign up with the PlayStation Network, and there was no problems, right? The game had great word of mouth, so much so I bought it because of the word of mouth, right? The game had a lot of love, and it had a lot of goodwill, right? Like, this game was just being like hoisted as this is how you do gaming, right?
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden last week, Sony decided to reenact that clause that, hey, you know what? If you're a PC gamer, you got to sign up for the PlayStation Network. A lot of PC gamers were pissed at that because they didn't want to do that. You know, the reason why most PC gamers are because they don't like console, right? They don't want to have to do all the console things that we do. I'm a console guy myself. I have a PS5 and an Xbox Series X. I haven't moved to PC yet. I know I should at some point, but you know what? I'm comfortable with consoles. So where I would have no problem doing this just because I already have a PS5 and it's just an easy thing for me to do, I understand why PC gamers are pissed though.
Yeah,
because that's not what you signed up for,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they fought it. They fought it hard, man, with the help of Grums, who we all know, and a bunch of other big names in that space, and they won. Sony decided not to do it, and I think that was announced today or last night or yesterday.
Oh,
That
last
Sony
night,
said,
yeah.
you know what? Fine, we're not going to do it. So gamers won. The gamers won. Do you guys see this as a trend of the gamers winning? Because we look at what happened with Stellar Blade, right? We look at all these things that's been going on. Where do you guys think gaming is at right now with this?
That's a rough one, man, because when it comes to you see the stuff that's going on with Grums, with Cabrutus, and the whole the DEI stuff that's going on with Sweet Baby Inc. All of that stuff that's going on over there. A lot of people are saying, hey, look, we got to get this stuff out of gaming. Similar to what we feel in Hollywood. We got to get this stuff out of film. We got to get this stuff out of gaming. It's the same conversation. Are they winning in that regards? We'll have to wait and see. But right now, it's a win, and I think that everybody should feel good about that win. I think the Stellar Blade situation is probably evolving because we're going to have, Grums has his campaign out where he's trying to get basically, hey, don't censor the game. Put the game back the way that we got it. And so there's a campaign going on for that. I think the
online petition thing.
The petition, thank you. Yeah, I'm drawing blanks. The online petition is sky high right now. It's doing great. So we'll see what happens. If we get Stellar Blade uncensored, I think that can change some things. I think that's a sign that these studios and these gaming companies and PlayStation and Sony are actually listening. But because the outcry for HellDivers was incredible. I've never seen anything like it. And, people were basically just mass canceling, getting refunds. Like, it was insane how many people were just like, give me my money back. Give me my money back.
Oh, and then they got the whole, they said the review bomb, right?
And the review bomb on top of it, right? They were getting review bombed. It was a I think it was, they came after them hard. So it was better, in my opinion, than Stellar Blade. But Stellar Blade is still, evolving. And I think most people are pleased with the game Stellar Blade. So they're not really as upset as the HellDivers crew was, because that's like bait and switch what they were doing over there with Stellar Blade.
Yeah, no, it was
with HellDivers. So yeah, completely different. And I think that, at some point in time, there may have even been some legal action that might have jumped off if they didn't do something. So I think
who are the developers again?
Point. Oh man, what's the name?
Was it Arrowhead? Arrowhead,
yeah.
Yeah,
or Arrow or something like that. Arrow or Arrowhead, yeah.
Yeah.
So they had to make that move. I think they absolutely had to do that because the outcry was so immediate, and it was just, it was fierce. They were coming hard after him. Stellar Blade feels like it's more like, okay, guys, come on, and it's like, even though Grums is doing an amazing job with it, it just doesn't seem like it has that same energy. But if they actually listen to the fans when it comes to Stellar Blade, I think we might get some action from that. And I think then, the gaming industry right now, they don't need any negativity going on right now when it comes to the gaming industry. And it's been nothing but negativity since the year started, and now you got the Star Wars game coming out and there's backlash from that. You got so much negativity around that coming off of Hogwarts Legacy last year. I think the gaming space right now, they might be the drivers for the change that we were looking for in Hollywood and we've really never gotten.
The catalyst for all of this recently is obviously the whole thing with Sweet Baby Inc. and Kotaku and that whole situation. And so it's a weird, gaming is in a weird place right now. You know what I mean? What do you think, Aaron?
I think gaming needs to be reminded of the same thing that comics needs to be reminded of, that Hollywood needs to be reminded of, and that our politicians need to be reminded of. It's that we hold the power. And that's the way it needs to be. I agree. What's the line from V for Vendetta? People should not be afraid of their government. Government should be afraid of their people.
Yeah.
I think companies should be afraid of their customers. And so I think we need to put the fear of God in them. I think that we need to withhold our dollars whenever we can. I think whenever they do something like this and we don't like it, we need to, go into these sorts of action modes, because we need to have all of these companies that have these activists in them be so afraid to listen to the activists within their company instead of listening to their customers, that as soon as they start, as soon as those hens start cackling within the company, they're like, shut it down. Shut up. We're not, no, we're not doing this. That's the way it needs to be. Stop listening to these idiots in your company who have never drawn a damn dime, and start listening to the people that are making you money and that are giving you money.
That used to be the adage, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. So why are we doing things that don't make money? Like, why are we doing this?
Because BlackRock's got to force behavior, man. Dude, they got to force behaviors. They got to force us into this way of thinking.
But
it's why I put out that tweet a couple of days ago where I'm like, I miss when companies just wanted to make money.
Yeah.
Like what happened in those days when companies just wanted to make money? Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they got into the game of activism. They got into, hey, we got to be, ideological. We got to start saving the world. I don't get it. I mean, I understand that there's people that want to, do whatever, what they think is right. What they believe is right. And there's avenues for doing all of that. You can go and do your charities and your March for Life, and you can do all of that stuff outside of your day job. Your day job, there's a goal here, and the goal is, hey, I'm working for a video game company. In order for me to continue to have this job, to make sure that there is a video game company, that remains or whatever, I got to do what it is that I need to do, which is make good games and try as much as I can to please as many customers and as many fans of this franchise or whatever it is as humanly possible. That should be the goal of every company. Put the customers first, focus on your shareholders. Obviously, there's a lot of companies that say, hey, maximize shareholder value. How do you maximize shareholder value if all of your greatest franchises are losing money? You're not. That's why I always look at Disney. Like Disney, you have like 3 or 4 or 5 of the top franchises in the history of the world, with Marvel and with Star Wars and with the Disney princesses. And you got all of these big franchises, and you're not making money.
Not only that, they're destroying them.
They're destroying. They're not only not making money, they are burning these franchises to the point where nobody wants to mess with them anymore. So it's like, how are you doing this? And your goal is to maximize shareholder value to the point that, but yet somehow Bob Iger keeps his whole board together, and they don't even bring on one guy. They can't even get a Nelson Peltz in there. They double and triple down on Bob Iger, and like, this guy's been ruining your company. I don't understand the decisions that are made, but at the end of the day, all right. Eventually your stuff isn't going to make money. It's not making money now. What are you going to do? Are you going to just keep doubling and tripling down on failed policies and failed ideas?
The only thing Bob Iger has ever been good at is acquiring things when the spice was flowing.
Right.
But as soon as his bad decisions start to stack up and the money isn't there, there is literally nothing he can do. He doesn't have a creative bone in his body. That's why he had to get Lasseter out of the picture. That's why it was very convenient that, all these allegations on Lasseter during the Me Too movement. Well, we need a golden parachute you. You know why? Because Lasseter was probably next in line for that job. And Lasseter is both a businessman and a creative genius.
Yeah,
he could have ushered Disney into a golden age and into a new golden age, and Bob Iger couldn't have that because Bob Iger deep down knows that he is a fraud. But his ego was too big to just ride into the sunset and have his little book that said The Ride of a Lifetime and look at all these amazing things that I accomplished. He couldn't stand the fact that Chapek was in there. He couldn't stand the fact that he didn't have that power anymore. So he had to force Chapek out. And he came back. And it's kind of beautiful if you think about it, because he came back and he inherited the consequences of all of his terrible decisions. And now that legacy that was so precious to him, it's gone. He will retire as one of the worst CEOs in Disney history, as opposed to the best, which is what he wanted.
Yeah,
so that then he could run for political office.
I absolutely love that. That's the best part about the failure of Bob Iger, is that this guy thought that he was living, I guess, I don't know I don't know if he thought he was going to be like the next, big CEO, Michael Eisner. I thought Michael Eisner did a good job at Disney. I don't know if that's who he thought he was going to take over for, and he was going to have this giant legacy. He bought Star Wars. He bought Marvel, like he's behind all of that. But when the chips are down, he has nothing. And the only thing he can do is just buy more franchises. The only thing he can do is purchase more things, but he can't turn these things into like quality hits. He can't do what they did back in the day with Star Wars because he's so ideologically driven by everything that he wants to accomplish. He's a politician. You know, he's a literal politician. It's what politicians are. Politicians, they can talk a good game, they can get the whole world to believe in everything that they're saying, but when it comes to, you know, push comes to shove, they just can't get the job done. That's why he wanted to be a politician.
And for them, yeah, you know, he thought he was going to go on to be president.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, that to me, like, I love the fact that Bob Iger is now dealing with the consequences of his own nonsense. I love it. I'm glad that he got Bob Chapek out of the way because now he can't use him as an excuse.
No, he has nobody to hide behind.
Yeah, he has nobody to hide behind.
Bro, you Stock was the highest under Chapek. Stock was higher than it's ever been under Chapek.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, until Bob Iger came back, and then everybody started, oh, wow, Marvel's not doing so hot. You know, what's going on? Oh, you know, Disney Plus, that didn't really work out for you, did it, Bob? You know, everything has been falling apart for Disney, and there's nothing he can do. He just has to sit there and watch it fail.
And we're all guys that Bob Iger wouldn't give 5 minutes of his time to, right? He's above us. We're all beneath him. And yet I'm pretty sure every single one of us looked at the streaming model and said, this is unsustainable. Like from the very beginning. I'm on record. I know Dante's on record. Derek, I'm sure you're on record too, is saying like, no, this can't work. You know,
no, it can't.
All these companies,
because you have to constantly feed the machine, man, and they don't have it in them to do it.
I think that was the biggest mistake that all of these guys made is they tried to duplicate Netflix, and they all have. I mean, they've just been burning up money trying to keep up with Netflix. Netflix, it was like, hey, we're the only game in town. You guys just send all your content over to us, and you can continue to do what you're doing. And I think everybody would have been just fine, but they figured, well, this is the next evolution of, you know, content. We're all going to need a streaming service.
But the difference between Netflix and those other companies is that Netflix is a tech company. Those other companies are studios.
Right.
Trying to play at what Netflix does. And Netflix, you can't do that. You can't duplicate what they do. Not to the level of success that they do it in.
And not when they have such a head start.
But all of these studios thought they could do it though, right? Disney, Peacock, Paramount, they all thought they could do it.
Warner. I guess Sony's like the lone exception because they haven't ran out. Even though I think they did try to get a streaming service going for like a hot second, and then they realized they didn't know what they were doing. Yeah, we out. And now we just give our stuff to them.
Madam Web, go into our streaming service. Sign up.
Yeah. No, but you know, when it comes to like gaming, though, I think what separates gaming from film is that, at least business wise, is gamers are a different breed. Gamers are not the same as your movie going audience. You know what I mean? Like when you drop a movie, it's $20, you know, and you know, depending on the situation, you'll risk it. You'll be like, well, why not? I'll go watch a movie, right? I'll go to a theater, sit in the air-conditioned theater and watch a movie, maybe bring a date, maybe go with friends. It's just a different thing. Gamers who are dropping $70 on a game, they're not going to sit there and take it. Like they're going to let you know if they're pissed, right? And then they're literally just going to stop buying your stuff, right? So you can't play that same game with gamers that you do with like a movie going audience.
Yeah,
right.
A lot of gamers are also lone wolves. You know, they're gaming for them is a way to shut the world out. So that's why a lot of these live service games fail. Yeah, there's some successful live service games. You know, there's a segment of the audience that's very social and wants to go play Fortnite and be on there with their friends and stuff like that and have a good time. You know, MMOs have done really well because of that. You know, because and your MMO RPGs have done really well. But most gamers prefer a single person experience, or
I prefer single player.
I do as well, because it's for me. That's like, this is my time to shut the world out and just be here with this game and this story and this narrative. So I've never been a big like, you know, let's all get online and play like this big chaos thing. And so like that's why. And these live service games are so expensive. They're expensive to make. They're expensive to maintain. And you have to keep feeding the beast. It's like the streaming service of video games. You have to keep feeding that beast. And if you're not making any money, like Avengers didn't, like Suicide Kill the Justice League's not doing it. That you just flushed a ton of money down the toilet.
Now,
You
don't
could've
get me
just
wrong.
made 3 good games.
Gaming does have its problems, man. The whole microtransactions, the whole day one DLC stuff, like all that stuff. You know, it's plagued by its own issues, right? But again, you know, when you're talking about PC players, they're a very different breed than console players, right? And they're not going to sit there and tolerate it, man. And as we saw what happened with HellDivers, that game literally went from beloved to hated in a week.
Yep.
Yeah.
In a week.
Yeah, that was
right?
the most insane thing I've ever seen. I've never seen anything like that. Those guys really, really brought it. I was shocked how everything flipped. Because like I heard about the game. I haven't bought it, you know, because I buy like 1 or 2 games a year. That's how much I game. I don't really.
Yeah, no, same.
So I got Stellar Blade, and I'm like, all right, I'm playing Stellar Blade because it looks like a lot of fun. It fits what I want to do. Okay, cool. So I got Stellar Blade, and that's what I've been playing. But like in between watching, like, I'm like, man, this thing is HellDivers is going off the side of a cliff. I've heard everybody praising the hell out of this game, and then it just like twisted. It turned on a dime. I was like, wow. And then right away, they realized how badly they had messed things up. And they said, all right, we got to switch this up. And they did so. So, you know, again, hats off to Sony for recognizing that they needed to make a change. And they, you know, I guess you could say
was it Sony or was it the developer saying like you were going to kill our game?
The message came out from PlayStation, I believe, right? It was it got
it was Sony.
Yeah. So hats off to them for
players hit them in the wallet, man. They hit them in the pocket.
Yeah.
They saw those profits dropping.
But, you know, that's what you need, and in my opinion, with this entertainment game is you need folks to take that kind of responsibility when they mess up something to the fandom. You know, like if Lucasfilm ever took responsibility and said, you know what, guys, we got it wrong. We messed up Star Wars. We apologize. I think they would win goodwill just from that alone, just from a statement like that.
But they'll never make that statement.
They'll never make it. But I'm saying, like, you know, when you talk about, like, how could you possibly get some of the, like, you know, with Marvel, with Star Wars, with Star Trek, with all these big franchises that have had, you know, decades long, you know, fan bases. It's like, you know, at some point in time, you got to take responsibility for what you've done. And I don't think even if you decide, all right, we're going in a completely different direction with Star Wars, we're going to make a this or that, we're going to turn it into people will still not trust you. They will still not trust you. But if you came out and said, you know what, we understand, some acknowledgement that there was a mistake made. That's what Sony gave us. And so that's when you're to answer your question, is there hope? I think just from that, there's a smidgen of hope because it's like, okay, the fans' voices were heard and they made some changes and they acknowledged that they were wrong. They made that outward acknowledgement that say, hey, all right, we screwed it up. That's what you really, really need from these bigger companies to get people. Otherwise, we're just going to, all right, man, you know what? I'm done. I'm just going to go ahead and focus on the indie series or the indie games and indie movies or, you know, things that aren't insulting me and trying to steal my money out of my pocket and then trying to twist things up, bait and switch at the last minute. I'm just going to go in a completely different direction with my dollar.
And it's like I said, I think things are going to really go. They're going to go back to just an indie level. You know what I mean? I think with gaming, with film, with comics, it's all going to go back to indies. I think AA games you're going to see a rise in those. I think the age of the AAA game is in trouble. I don't know, like, you know, maybe GTA 6 might do well. Who knows? But I think a lot of people are steering away from AAA because they're tired of the bullshit. So you're going to see a lot of these AA games coming up. I think, and they're cheaper, right? People are going to spend less money and they're going to have fun doing it and sticking it to the big companies.
Just say no to anything as a service. That's bullshit.
I agree.
I'm buying a game, I'm buying a product. I'm not buying a service.
Yeah,
I'm not paying you Photoshop. I'm not paying you HP for printers that have to be online all the time, where I have to pay you a service to use a printer. I'm not doing it. You know,
dude, I hate that service shit, man. When I found out like Adobe was doing that, I was like, yeah, nah, I'm done. I'm good. I'll find any other alternative. I'm not going to sign up.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the scam now, though, right? Like that's the scam because they're all doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they got to make money somehow. I guess they can't figure out how to create new things, so they just got to double down on the stuff they've already created and sell it to you again, or get you to subscribe to something. And in order for this to work, you got to subscribe to it. And it's like, come on, guys. I just want to. That's why I like physical game. I like physical media. I don't like buying anything online where they can take it away from. Like I think you just said that. I don't like buying stuff where they can take it from you. It's like, oh, well, if you don't have this service, you won't be able to watch it. So you got to buy the service to be able to watch the stuff that you already bought. It's like, come on, guys.
Yeah, someone in the chat had wrote that always buy physical media, and I agree, man. Because now you have like these execs making these comments that just because you buy the game doesn't mean you own it, kind of shit. And it's like, dude, I dropped $70 on this. You bet your ass I own it.
Yeah.
But they're making comments like that. So the only way is to own physical media now.
No, you're absolutely right.
Like we did before when we buy DVDs or we buy games at GameStop or wherever we bought them from. I mean, we bought the physical copy.
Remember when everybody had to BTFO Xbox, when they were like, your Xbox needs to be online all the time. And if you want to use any of your games, it has to be connected to the internet so it can verify that it's your game. And you can't take it to a friend's house and play it because it's tied specifically to your PlayStation. And we'll check it with and everybody went, nope. And Sony was smart enough to do that commercial where they were like, this is how you share games on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Here you go. And they just they were smart enough to do that commercial. And now look, we're just a few years past that. And Sony is shooting themselves in the foot repeatedly.
Well, Sony's been shooting themselves for a while. This is just their more recent fuck up. You know what I mean? It's like Sony's been having issues for a while, but that was smart. That one thing they did was very smart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
John Snowden says, how much money goes into games like HellDivers? I mean, it's hard to say, man. That's a good question, actually. I have no idea how much it costs to make a game like that.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything on the budget for that. I mean, I know it's not like AAA level, but I'm sure they spent between 50 and 100 million at least.
Oh yeah, so coin was definitely spent, and a lot of it, but as much as the AAA, probably not. But yeah, I don't know. I for me, gaming is one of those things that. It is something I do to relax. It's something I do to unwind. I honestly don't like a lot of drama when it comes to video games. I don't even like hearing about drama when it comes to video games because for me, that's my resting place, man. That's where I go to, like you said, Aaron, to just tune out. Like I just want to be with me and my game and nothing else.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, when stuff like this happens, man, it's just. It's that reminder, right? It's that reminder of the real world that we can have nice things.
Yeah, it's like everything just keeps coming back to remind us that, this game has some controversy. You're playing this game, enjoying this. Oh, this game has a lot of controversy. There's a lot of drama going on with it. And it's like, I just want to play the game. It's like, I just want to go to a movie. I don't want to sit up here and listen to all of this nonsense from the outside. We complain about it. We talk about it because we care about it and we're passionate about it. But at the same time, we really wish it would go away. Yeah. Just so we could get back to what it was. We're just enjoying things. And we're not, again, one of the reasons why I'm more into anime now is not a lot of drama. I mean, there's some, I don't get it twisted. There are absolutely issues going on with localizers and everything in anime, but it's not as bad and it's not as prevalent as it is over here with Hollywood, where everything is damaged. And they've ripped all of our favorite franchises out of our hands, and they've given them over to woke activists, and the activists are just destroying it and running it into the ground. And it's like we feel helpless because like this stuff I loved. I would love to love it again. We got people like Alyssa Mercante out there, like basically that chick.
Yeah, and trust me, she's not alone. Like there's many of them like her, unfortunately.
Yeah. There's a lot of shaven-headed, blue-haired land whales that want to just take just like insert themselves into every one of your hobbies and take them away from you because you are not allowed to have anything that you enjoy. You are not allowed to have any escapism. They hate their lives, they hate themselves, and they can't stand the fact that you've found some form of enjoyment. So they need to try to take it from you.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. And I mean, who knows? Maybe their time has come. I mean, they're definitely getting exposed a lot more now. So
yeah.
So hopefully,
and that's the good thing. Again, more of us talking about it is great because the more channels YouTube YouTube channels that are out there, the more people on Twitter that are putting that out there. You see Grums and his petition going crazy. I mean, you need more and more and more of that, people speaking out. You got channels like Nerdrotic that are over 1 million subs. The message is getting out there, and more people are starting to say, yeah, entertainment is garbage. Oh yeah, they're destroying all the things that we loved and cared about. You're getting more and more of that happening, and I think that's important in order to make sure that now, number one, we hold all of these guys' feet to the fire, because the way I've always seen it, these franchises belong to us. We are the ones that built them. Yeah, George Lucas created Star Wars, but the fans built Star Wars into what Star Wars
man.
became. So and in my opinion, these are our franchises as the fans. And I'll be damned if I'm going to let Kathleen Kennedy take away my love of Star Wars, as much as, I get it, but I'm not going down without a fight. Let me put it that way.
Hey, you're a better man than me, man. Cause I'm waving the white flag. I'm done. I'm like, you win. You can have it. Give it to whoever you want. See, my thing is this, man. Activists don't create, right? They don't create. They destroy, they hijack, but they can't. They don't create because they can't create, because they're soulless.
Yep.
Our friend Doc on Thinking Critical coined a great phrase for these people. He calls them cultural locusts.
Yeah,
and I think that is absolutely right. They just come in, they just devour and destroy everything, and then they just move on to the next thing, and they just leave you with with your destroyed property.
They want to take things that you love, that you enjoy, and because you are a cis heterosexual man or whatever the case may be, you're not allowed to have that thing. Now we have to give it to somebody else.
I heard this one analogy where there's a group of boys and they build a clubhouse. And the clubhouse is awesome. They go and they hang out at the clubhouse every single day, and they built it up from scratch with the wood and with and all that. And along come their sisters. All their sisters are like, "Oh, well, we want to play in the clubhouse. Let us into the clubhouse and play." And the boys tried to keep them out, saying, "No, this is boys only. You can't come in." But the parents came along. "Boys, let your sisters play in the clubhouse." And so the sisters, they come into the clubhouse and then they absolutely destroy it. And they wreck it and they mess it up. And it's to the point the boys don't even want to play in the clubhouse anymore. So they walk away and they leave the clubhouse. And then the sisters are like, "Well, the boys are gone. All right, we're out of here too." And then the sisters disappear. And then all of a sudden the boys come back and then they rebuild the clubhouse and they make it better than ever. But then lo and behold, the sisters come right back and they say, "Oh, the clubhouse is back." It's like, the people that were there maintaining, now it's not about a boy girl thing. They just use that as an example, but the people that were there maintaining this thing that they loved, they were driven away, and the people that came in behind them destroyed it. And then even when they leave, because eventually, like you're saying, it's like the locusts, they will leave eventually. They will go on and move on to the next big thing. They're already attacking anime, and they're going to move on to other things.
Yeah, they've moved on to Warhammer. They've moved on to anime. They're trying to get in.
And we're going to get our Star Wars back, and we're going to get all of our properties back, because they're going to burn them to the ground. Nobody's going to care. And then a group of dedicated fans will come back, and they will say, "Hey, let's rebuild Star Wars. Let's make Star Wars what it was." The question is, we got to make sure that they don't bring them. Hey, now gatekeep, keep them out. Okay, if you're not with us, you're against us. Out of here. Okay, we're not playing this game a second time. So I think that's going to be the real key piece, is once they destroy all of these franchises, they'll move on, like you said, to Warhammer. They're going to move on to anime. They're going to move on to try to do video. They're already in the video game space.
Yeah.
When we get our stuff back, we got to hold tight now. We got to hold the line. We can't allow these people to come in and destroy the things that mean so much to us. So that's how I look at it.
Let's create things that we don't allow them in the first place. That's what I say.
Or just that.
I agree.
Keep them out.
All right, guys. So
from the get-go.
We're gonna wrap it up. This was great. I knew we'd have a lot to talk about though, because we always do. We always we're not we don't hesitate when it comes to giving our opinion about certain things, especially issues like this. But I definitely want to thank my guests, Aaron and Derek. Derek, where can they find you?
You can check me out on my channel, Derek Anderson, the DA. Funny thing is, I just put up a video just not too long ago regarding Hollywood. An article from That Park Place talked about how they're not even getting paid now. Apparently, like a lot of these actors are not getting paid. And, Hollywood is starting to fall apart. Yeah, they said things are terrible right now. Hollywood is absolutely falling apart. So I just did a video on that. You guys can check it out on my channel, Derek Anderson, the DA. I also do a live show every Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, the DA's office. I usually hang out with my friend T. Dante was on a little bit ago. And we just talk about the same type of stuff. We just, enjoy, discussing Hollywood, discussing comics, games, that type of thing. And we just want to, try to be the voice out there that, the fans sometimes need to, just get the message out and let us be heard. So check me out. Appreciate
Totally
the
agree.
sub.
Yeah, you guys sub to his channel if you haven't already, man. Derek is a great guy, a great show, and very informative. You guys get a lot out of it. Aaron, what's going on with you, man?
So you can find me on Twitter at Aaron_Sparrow. You can find me on Instagram, just Aaron Sparrow. If you guys want to talk, you can also find me on 3 different YouTube shows on the regular. I'm on Thinking Critical, I'm on Popped by Culture, and I'm on Maxfield Von Priestley, his channel. You can find all of those. And if you guys would be so kind, if you're interested in like some of the stuff that we talked about today, you can join the Kneel Before Doomface mailing list at kneelbeforedoomface@gmail.com. You may just get a message back from either Doomface himself or his major domo Lexi.
All right. And you guys, so I'm going to try to do this every Monday. I'm still debating on which days are the best days for me to do it, but we'll see. I'm probably going to switch it off to maybe Tuesday or Friday, just because I do another show before this sometimes, and doing double duty could get a little nuts. So, but I'm glad you guys all tuned in today. I appreciate you. Thank you guys so much, and you guys have a great rest of your night, man.
Thanks, everybody.